win Game of the Year 2022. The Stray game is absolutely blowing up in popularity. We're going to be looking at some really impressive stats right here at the beginning of the stream, not Stray. If you like Stray gameplay, we'll also be trying to dive back in and finish the game. I did play some Stray gameplay, and my Stray review is sort of ongoing and what I think. And I'm going to kind of give some of my thoughts right here at the beginning on why I think it might win Game of the Year, also why it might not, and sort of my prediction about what's going to happen at the Game Awards with the Stray game and everything that's been happening with all of the stats. And it's beating God of War, and I'm going to show you how and why. What does that mean? I'm going to end the previous stream and bring everybody over. From that stream, we covered Halo Infinite co-op this morning, why it's weird that people expected matchmaking, but why it's also kind of not good that even a newer feature that's in other games isn't going to be in Halo Infinite. So if you missed that VOD, go check out my commentary there and what I think. And let me give you this very quick update. This is a Reforge update. Do you think Stray could win Game of the Year 2022? That's the question we're asking in light of the crazy stats that this game is pulling and doing on Steam and the overwhelming response of love and positivity from the community. Leave a comment below with your thoughts. Always remember to hit subscribe and the bell button here on Reforge Updates. And check out Reforge Gaming, where I stream live. I discussed this and even played the game over there if you want to check it out. So VGC.com has the following report. This is crazy that people found this and this is actually happening. Stray has become the highest user-rated game on Steam this year, according to a weighted list. Steam 250 assigns Steam games a score determined by whether players give them a positive or negative review, combined with how many players reviewed them. What is Stray's score currently? Well, it is currently at an 8.61 based on 42,000 votes, of which 98% are positive, making it top of the list of all games released in 2022. Now, this was spotted by SkillUp, so credit to SkillUp for catching this and seeing this. It's actually beating God of War. Recently, God of War ported to PC and was doing incredibly well. It was basically, I think, the highest rated game up to now for this year on Steam with an 8.56 based on 53,000 votes. It had a 97%. So it beat a game that is well known, super successful, really great port that was pulling a 97%. It's already also climbing the all-time chart on Steam, okay? It has a long way to go, but it has already climbed to number 49 on the all-time voted chart. So out of all games ever voted on the Steam charts, it's sitting in the top 50 after just recently launching. Now, what are some of the top games of all time on Steam? Portal 2 is at the very tippity top with an 8.83 based on 301,000 votes, and it's got a 99%, which is bonkers crazy. Portal 2 is a great game. This is why Portal 3 will never happen. They're scared they can't outdo it. It's also followed by Terraria, Stardew Valley, Hades, and People Playground. So the question that I'm posing is, in light of all of this insane success for Stray, can it win Game of the Year? It's getting loving treatment from virtually everybody across the internet. It's a cat, and people love cats. There's viral videos of cats watching people play Stray. I want to talk about why I think it might, why I think it might not, and then give my prediction. First and foremost, why it might win Game of the Year. It's a huge breakout title, and titles that do that can win, okay? It Takes Two won last year, and scores and community response are undeniable in the corner of Stray. The game's kind of just blowing up. Everybody's loving it. It's just shattering records and climbing charts. Those are reasons why it might win. It might kind of come out of nowhere and just kick the slats out from underneath the other titles that are heading to the top. Elden Ring being the lead probably right now for Game of the Year, and God of War Ragnarok's going to make a run for it, and it might pull it off. Now, why will it might not win? It might not, okay? Aspects of the game are pretty mechanically limited. It didn't have free roaming and jumping. It's all sort of sort of predictable, like you can jump here, you can jump there. There were elements of the gameplay that I felt got annoying sometimes. That's not me complaining. That's me just saying it's got some minor things about it that I didn't like, and the gameplay is pretty mechanically limited. Also, it's a very short game. Very short and narrow games tend to struggle to win Game of the Year. You have to keep in mind, It Takes Two was a super long game. It was basically like 10 mini games. It was 10 video games in one. Then it also had all the fun mini games. The environments were crazy creative. The soundtrack was insanely awesome, and the gameplay was phenomenal. You got to play like virtually 10 video games in one with different mechanics, different weapons, and different things that you got to do. It was not a small and narrow game the way that Stray is. So what's my prediction? I think Stray is going to get a Game of the Year nomination, which in and of itself will be huge for them. Getting a Game of the Year nomination is as good as a win for a company and a game this size. That's a huge nod to the quality and popularity of the game. But I think that's where it will end. It will not win Game of the Year. It will assuredly win 2 to 3 other categories: breakout title, indie title. You know, there's a handful of other titles that this thing will probably take handedly. It's been a pretty thin year, and this thing is undeniably very popular and doing very well. I hope Sony took very good care of the developers and wrote them a very fat check, and I also think the commercial success on Steam is really, really helping the developers either add to this game. People want to buy skins, people want more DLC, people want more game, or to do a sequel. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think this thing has a chance at Game of the Year? Make sure to head over to Reforge Gaming if you want to watch my live streams. As always, hit subscribe and the bell button, and I'll see you in the next video. And I want to know what you guys think. Do you guys think this thing has a shot? Does it have a shot at Game of the Year? It's a new stream. We already did a stream this morning about Halo, so I'm switching to live chat. You should be doing the same thing. I'm pressing the like button. You should be doing the same thing. Go through your rituals, switch to live chat, smash the like button, and we're going to do a poll in a moment on whether or not you think this thing could win Game of the Year. Royal Duck renewing their membership. Welcome back in. Congrats on the new badge. Those games won't win either. People love cats until you bring home a baby, and they... Yeah, that's right. That's right. Indie Game of the Year? It'll win Indie Game of the Year. No doubt. No doubt. The top Game of the Year contenders are PlayStation games. Don't forget Sifu. No shot. This thing's more popular, more praised, more liked than Sifu. I think Sifu will probably win 1, maybe 2 awards, but I think this thing just kicks Sifu right off the podium. I don't think Sifu stands a chance at some of those categories now. Stray is just, look at what it's doing. Yeah, there'll be some fighting awards and stuff that Sifu will win. Look at what Stray's doing, man. It's doing absolute numbers. It's doing absolute numbers. What's good, Snow? Do you want to poke the bear? Can I poke the bear? Too soon in the new stream to poke the bear? Wait to poke the bear? What do you mean? What bear are you poking? Me? You want to poke me? When did you, Bear, get to start making show requests? Is this a new Dark Roast member tier? Hey, what's good, Jaretol? How are you? I think Game of the Year win is possible, but not probable. I like that. I like that. Could we get 22 more quick likes, guys? Quick likes. Get those 100 likes. First 100 likes are so important. Even Elden Ring is ultimately a PS game? No, it's not. Poke the horse. I think Game of the Year win is possible, but not probable. Sifu is PlayStation only. Stray is PC and PlayStation and killing it with their first game. Stray is blowing up. It's a real good game. The visuals and story were great, but it's short and limited. I think if Stray was the length of It Takes Two, it would stand a real shot. Hex wants a poke. I did the ritual. Where's my unlimited money? We don't have that today. Oh, you want to poke the Xbox bear? I mean, go for it. Stray is linear. It only has the publicity because it's a cat. I don't think the publicity is because it's a cat. I think because it's just a really charming and good game. I think the cat is jet fuel in the tank, but I already think this thing was set to be very liked. It felt like a tech demo to me. I don't agree with that. What's the criteria for Game of the Year? If Stray excels at what it sets out to do, it's a compelling story, it's creative, it's unique. What does that make it any less of a contender? I don't think it's big enough. I think it needs to be bigger. Your game needs to be significantly bigger. Little short indie games that are between 5 and 7 hours, I think that's a really, really hard sell to beat out games like Elden Ring. It has to be big. It doesn't have to be big, but I definitely think it's significantly easier to make a really, really quality 6-hour game compared to a really, really quality, like, 20-hour game. Yes. I think, and this is why we're debating it. What do you think they need to do for a Game of the Year? You don't think game length matters? Stray can get the nomination, sure, says Wheezy. I just don't think it will win. It can win, but I don't think that it would win. It will. All right, let's do the poll. Will Stray win Game of the Year 2022? Well, let's try this. Stray... what the frick? Stray Game of the Year 2022. What will happen? Wins Game of the Year nomination only. No nomination, no win. No nomination. So does it win Game of the Year? Win Game of the Year nomination or no nomination? Which do you think is going to happen? Does it win? Does it get the nomination or no nomination at all? Not even a nomination. Horizon Forbidden West will not be nominated. I think Horizon Forbidden West will be nominated. Guys, thank you for the 100 likes. Thank you for being here. This is more of a passion topic for me. Like, I'm kind of pulling for this game. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of pulling for it. Like, let this thing just come in here and absolutely steal. Just steal it. Steal it right from Elden Ring. Steal it right from God of War Ragnarok. Like, I don't think it will. Fundamentally, my prediction is it gets the nomination and that's it. The nomination will be a big surprise. It's great. It's not groundbreaking. It's not excelling in any gameplay mechanics. It's charming as heck and fun to chill with. Yeah, I don't think it broke enough ground to win, Eugene. It's too short. It's not innovative enough. It's not pioneering enough. Now, somebody might push back and say, well, in what ways is Ragnarok, Forbidden West, or Elden Ring, pioneering new ground? And to a certain extent, they might be right. I think it's going to sweep Indie Game of the Year. I think it's going to crush Sifu, personally. I don't think Sifu can compete with it. I think Sifu is good and got tons of great praise, but I think Stray is just dominating the indie categories. I think it's important to remember we're more than 20 different annual game award organizations within the games industry, most of which are not televised. Yeah, I'm talking big, the big one. I'm pulling for this game. I like to pull for my Dallas Cowboys every year, says Geritol. Unfortunately, like my boys, Stray bows out in the first round. I think it does a masterful job of accomplishing what it set out to accomplish. The question is that checklist long enough? Right, like, if you want to make the absolute best ever Ladybug Simulator, and it's cute and charming and adorable, does that mean it deserves to win Game of the Year? You know what I mean? For some reason, I can't redirect anymore. Let me go to your channel, and I'm subscribed to you. Let me go to my community settings. What's good? Call me TK. And let me see if I still have it set. Community. Oh, it can't be. Who can redirect to my channel? You and Ginger Prime. I have you. Yeah, I have you listed under live redirects. I don't know. Yeah. I've not changed the setting. Question, who votes on Game of the Year? Because if it's people, then it has a real chance because more casual people will play this. It's based on people from the industry, and they base it on their own thoughts as well as commercial success as well as community response. Akuta Papa says no Game of the Year nomination. So you don't even think it gets a nomination. Say, why say that then? Huh? When Ragnarok comes out and it's just more of God of War, how is that Game of the Year argument any better? Yeah, people are coming in doing the fat raid. Thank you so much for coming over with Fat Steven Skull. I appreciate that. We can take a moment and acknowledge the Stray is BlueTwelve's first game, as far as I know. The best thing Stray has going for itself is that more people might try it out compared to games like Elden Ring and God of War. Yeah, it's a game you play as a cat. Moms and grandmoms might try it out, right? God of War is on a different level. Stray doesn't reach that level, says Eugene. It's 90% industry and 10% public vote counts for Game of the Year, says Texas. I think Stray was a trial run for the developers. Now to wait and see what they follow up with. Ladybugs are a hidden mode in Hollow Knight. I assure you, they are not cute and cuddly, vicious, bloodthirsty little buggers. I don't think they start on the same ground, says Eugene. I'm not arguing Stray to win, but I'm saying it's worthy of a nom. Well, I think what Sven was pushing back on is fair. Like, if we're going to say Stray can't win because they didn't really add any new innovative mechanics or pioneer anything that fantastic, why don't we hold Elden Ring and Ragnarok to that? Do we say that the size, scope, and excellence of those games is so much higher that they don't need to pioneer brand new mechanics? It's 100% worthy of a nomination, says Wheezy. I guess Last of Us 2 won, so anything's possible. Oh, stop it. We're not going down that road today. Stray Dog DLC incoming. I think it gets a nom solely because of the lack of games to nom, says Eugene. I do think it has two things in its favor. I think Stray Game of the Year is possible as a nomination, mainly because the competition is thin and it's a super duper crazy popular cat game. Like, and video games are so interwoven into internet culture and meme culture. Like, I think that's one of the reasons Keanu Reeves in Cyberpunk added to that game's almost hype train in a way that a marketing budget wouldn't have by itself. Like, You're Breathtaking is a meme, you know, I mean, that happened because of Keanu, not because of Cyberpunk. Dog DLC would be terrible. You can't jump out of a hole and you spend half the game chasing your own tail. Hard pass. The Garfield mod for Stray is cute as heck. Cats kill 2 billion birds a year. The stray cat is a monster hiding behind a cute package. Listen, you guys know me and my hatred for birds, so I love that cats kill so many birds, man. I say more. I say let them kill more birds. I think we should be training cats to kill bigger birds, especially geese. I would like to get a pack of cats and train them how to hunt and kill geese, and I would go to the local golf course with my herd of cats, and it would be bedlam. It would be absolute bedlam. There'd be goose feathers everywhere. Shut up, Goose Man. That Harry Potter quiz is a joke. And it was a swan, by the way. It was a swan, by the way. Stray will get the nomination like Celeste got in 2018. Cats on the internet, who would have thought it'd be popular, right? 5 games get nominated. Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West are givens. Pick the other 2. Yeah, I agree. 5 games get nominated for Game of the Year. Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, and Horizon Forbidden West. All right? If we throw Stray up there, what's the 5th? What's the 5th one? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, Hogwarts isn't going to come out in time, so it's not Hogwarts. And what else came out that's been kind of a breakout title this year and has done well enough to get Game of the Year? Other than, like, what, Sifu? Another little scrappy indie title. I'm trying to think of games that have come out. Let's look at the poll results. 160 votes. Stray Game of the Year 2022. What will happen? 8% saying it wins, 72% saying it gets the nomination, and 20% saying no nomination. If it's not going to get a nomination, I want to know why. Yeah, that Metacritic meme is fantastic. Let me show you guys this meme. This is good. This is a good meme. The Stray memes are in its corner, dude. People love this game. People absolutely love this game. Let me give you guys this meme. It's good. This one's good. Oh. Now, to be fair, this is 158,000 ratings, and this is 39, but it's still funny. It's still funny. Yo, Justice Fat Steven Seagal or Fat Seagal with a 4-month milestone. Have you checked the last Descendant trailer? No, I haven't. No. Callisto will be eligible for next game of the year. Callisto is still trying to come out this year, isn't it? The new Harry Potter game's aiming at December, which means it wouldn't be in contention for game of the year. It needs to come out like the first 2 weeks of November to be in contention. Horizon Forbidden West. Well, we listed that one. Xenoblade 3 is definitely Game of the Year contender. The 5th game will probably be Xenoblade 3 or Bayonetta 3. Okay, I forgot about those games. Those games are super popular. Yeah. Pokemon Legends Arceus. Yeah, it did really well at this. Yeah. Pokemon did very well. I forgot about that game. Yeah. Pokemon Arceus got an 83 from Metacritic and an 8.2 from Community. If you guys are just tuning in, Stray Game of the Year, the Stray game, the cat game. Do you think it could win Game of the Year? Is it even going to get a nomination? We have a poll at the top of the chat asking that question. I may try to finish the game today. We'll see how this stream goes and what the internet and YouTube thinks of our topic and my coverage. I really enjoyed my time with it, and we didn't get to finish it, so... Guardians of the Galaxy, that was last year. It got noms and it won stuff already. Stray is too indie, bro. Yeah, but indie games have gotten noms and have won before, have they not? At the very least, they've gotten noms. Somebody did it to The Last of Us Part 2 with its 5.7. So they just keep throwing the meme together. Yeah, that one's pretty good. Isn't it limited to 6 contenders? Arceus? Yeah, how do you pronounce that? Arceus? I don't know how to say it. Talika's laughing at me for mispronouncing it. It Takes Two was indie as well. Yeah, It Takes Two was an indie title, wasn't it? Or maybe it wasn't. It was Devolved. It was an indie studio. Was it not? Arceus? Oh no, I'm not a Pokemon guy. How do you say it? All you Pokemon out there and Pokewomen, tell me, how do I say it? I like Stray, especially for the first game for the indie company. Such a good-looking game with a ton of attention to detail. It's got to get a nomination. It's EA. It Takes Two was not indie. It Takes Two and Hades have both won. Yeah, Hades has gotten a nom. Like, Hades is at the top of the Steam charts, and it won. Arceus... Pokemon Legends Arceus. Arceus is a weird name. Yeah, you can't really fault me. It's definitely a weird name. That would be a heck of a show topic. Welcome to Reforge Gaming. Do what you like. Good night, folks. Wait, what did he ask me to do? Vislo? Oh, was he saying that maybe we should stop seeking validation from arbitrary awards and just play the games we like? Arceus. Emphasis on R. Arceus. Okay. Pokemon Legends Arceus. Thank you. Power Wash Simulator. Half of the names I think I know are pronounced very different in the shows. What Creature said. No, It Takes Two was not EA. It was an indie dev in EA's indie program. Yeah. That would be like saying that if that Ori and the Blind Forest, that'd be like saying Ori and the Will of the Wisps wasn't indie because Microsoft had something to do with it. It was still an indie studio. Crazy how linear the game was, says Harbo Guy Gaming. Just goes to show you that the trend towards bigger and open world games does not create a better experience. Love the music in Stray too. Yeah, the original soundtrack in Stray is getting a lot of praise. If you're just tuning in and you've never been here before, I do a talk show like this all throughout the week, and I'm also safe for work. A lot of people put me on in the background like Video Game Radio. We're discussing the Stray game, the Stray Cat game. Could Stray Game of the Year happen? Is it possible? Take the poll at the top of the chat. People are voting. It looks like most people thinking it will at least get a nomination. Also, make sure you're smashing the like button. That helps out the video, and we're already on our way to 200 likes, so thank you so much. Is it the Screw the Oscars guy who made It Takes Two? Yeah, it was him. That he was the guy that oversaw the project. Yeah. Director or whatever. I don't know his official title. The Tarnishing of Juxtia is now available on Steam. We did a first look on that, so that video might get some love today. We'll see. Any suggestion other than Stray? Come on, guys. Okay, so we've been debating about what we think the 5 to 6 titles will be for Game of the Year nominations, right? We've obviously got Elden Ring, Horizon Forbidden West, and God of War Ragnarok. I think those 3 will be up there. Dope shirt, bud. Thank you, Feed. If you guys ever like my shirt, remember to use the shirt command in chat. If you order from that site and use my code, it supports me. So those are the 3 shoo-ins. 2 or 3 more titles in addition to Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, and Horizon Forbidden West. I think, like what? Stray, Xenoblade 3, Bayonetta 3. Those are probably your 3 very likely titles to land up there. Maybe Sifu. Sifu got a lot of praise, got a lot of attention. Stray will be like Celeste. It won the 2018 Indie Game of the Year, and it got a main Game of the Year nomination. I agree with that. I think Stray is well on its way to landing in a bunch of different categories and also getting a Game of the Year nomination. I think so. What was your view of It Takes Two winning? Did you predict it couldn't possibly win? I didn't think it was going to win, no, which is why I'm kind of changing my tune. I'm thinking Stray might come in and sweep this and just completely upset the whole thing. The difference, I think, though, with It Takes Two and Stray, Zubair, It Takes Two is super long and really, really innovative. It's like 10 video games in one. All sorts of different mechanics, all sorts of different things that you can do, all these little mini games. I replayed it recently with my wife, and I'm like, I totally see why this game won. It's just fantastic. There's so much to it. 2 back-to-back year where indies win Game of the Year, rolling your eyes. I mean, hey, look, man, I'm not the one that's doing it. I'm just saying it's possible, right? I'd have to agree. If a big studio completely pays for the development, I wouldn't call it an indie title at that point. So No Man's Sky wasn't indie because Sony helped pay for it? Like what, like an 8-person studio? Size of the studio matters way more than who's paying for, who's writing the check. Right? If I put together a little studio and I got 10 people and I get enough money for those 10 people to make a great game, and the money comes from Sony instead of private investment firms or the bank, why are we suddenly not indie because Sony wrote the check instead of the bank? That doesn't make any sense. Development bandwidth and size of the company is what determines whether or not a company's indie, not who's writing the check. Because you're not independent. But that's not what independent or indie means as a colloquialism within gaming. You're being I hate to overuse it. It feels like you're being pedantic. That's not what determines indie. Like, Xbox literally has ID at Xbox. It's about indie studios that they own and they help pump the games out. Those companies and games are no longer indie just because they're under Microsoft umbrella. I disagree with that categorization. That creates a bunch of nonsense and then a bunch of games that can't be considered. Sorry, Microsoft puts you into their ID at Xbox program. You can't be considered for indie game studio votes anymore. That's stupid. Like, with respect, I think that's stupid. All these companies, Sony and Xbox, are scooping up indie studios, and they're suddenly not indie studios because a big company writes the check? Did It Takes Two win any indie awards? It Takes Two Game Awards. I don't know. It won British Academy Game of the Year, Game of the Year for Best Multiplayer, Game of the Year Family, and Game Award for Original Property. It doesn't look like it got any indie awards. No. It Takes Two was developed by Hazelight Studios and published by Electronic Arts. So let's look up Hazelight Studios and see how large they are. Hazelight Studios employees, 65 is the estimate. They're estimated to have 65, so less than 100 staff. 65 staff members at Hazelight. Hey Lono, still here, but going on to lurk mode. Love that you're doing, man, and happy I can still support you in your work. Thank you, Geritol. Stray tends to attract casual gamers. That's why it's getting so much hype. That sounds reductionistic and dismissive, and has no bearing on the quality of the game, or the reviews, or the review scores. I'm sorry, your car maker issued too much new stock last year. You can't win Car of the Year. Annapurna is not owned by anyone. What's being debated is not Stray Game of the Year or Annapurna. It's It Takes Two winning last year, and we're saying that was an indie studio and an indie game. And I'm being told that because EA paid for it, it's not indie. Which I think at a technical level, you can be correct, but you can also be wrong. No one in gaming blog, video, commentary, community world considers a tiny company, well, you're not indie because Microsoft or Sony or EA wrote the check. Like, nobody looks at nobody looks at Ori and the Will of the Wisps and is like, yeah, that's not an indie studio because it's under ID at Xbox. So you're going to go to Wikipedia and do appeal to definition. It's not an argument. You're not making a point. You're doing appealing to definition fallacy. You're just going to the Wikipedia. It has nothing, in my mind, within the gaming world, as it's being used as a colloquialism and no longer a technical term. Smaller development teams without the financial and technical support of a large game publisher. Yes, and if you rigidly apply that definition, I think that you end up looking very foolish. Because Hello Games has like 8 staff. And because Sony paid for No Man's Sky, is No Man's Sky no longer an indie game? Because Hello Games got money from a big company? However, Wheezy continues, the indie term may apply to other scenarios where the development of the game has some measure of independence from a publisher, even if a publisher helps fund and distribute a game, such as creative freedom. So, yeah, you're rigidly applying a definition and ignoring the other portion of the definition from the very wiki that you cited. So, I feel like that's kind of a checkmate in the discussion. Wheezy's like, damn, dog, literally the next sentence. Yeah, it's unusual that you would have left that sentence out. Does Sony own No Man's Sky? I don't know. I don't think so. I think they owned distribution and marketing rights early on, but no longer. I don't think they do. Horizon Forbidden West was a good chance of winning. Oh, has a good chance of winning. Traversal system in that game and the graphics were top-notch. No, I don't think Forbidden West has a shot. I think Elden Ring is the leader. Ragnarok is going to come in and make a go for it and potentially steal it. And I'm thinking I'm thinking Stray for upset. Right? The front runner's Elden Ring. God of War Ragnarok could come in and completely steal it because there's a lot of reasons why Ragnarok could win. And then a Stray Game of the Year upset. I'm telling you, I think it's possible. It's not probable. It's not probable, but it's possible. I'm telling you, man. It's been a light year for games, and this charming little game is just striking a chord in people's hearts. And that's what people are going to remember. They're going to remember how good the game made them feel, and their cat batting at the screen, and all the funny videos, and all the funny memes, and look at the stats, look at the scores, look at how well it's doing on Steam. You know what I mean? It's undeniable. The game's absolutely crushing it. All the memes. I've only had Stray for a day and a half, but if anything happens to him, I would kill everyone in this room and then myself. yeah. Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That's a good meme. That's a good meme. If Stray wins, it's because the casual market took the game viral. I feel like that's so dismissive and reductionist. If Stray wins, it's because the casual market took the game viral. So you think the people making memes on Twitter and Reddit and YouTubers and streamers, you think that's the casual market? Really? You think people making memes of a video game on Reddit and Twitter is the casual market? You think that's the person driving that car is a casual player? You're not paying attention if that's what you think. Anybody who's that plugged in to internet memes as well as video game culture on Twitter, that's not the casual gaming market. You are completely misreading that situation. The minute you have a Twitter account or a YouTube account and you comment or contribute to the gaming culture conversation, you're no longer a casual. Casual gamers never once do anything on Twitter or a forum or Reddit or YouTube about games. That's a casual gamer. Your casual gamers are not on subreddits and Twitter. They're not. Now, there are some that are, but the lion's share, the majority, I would wager to say 75 to 80% of the people that use Reddit and Twitter and YouTube to commentate about games, they're not casual at all. They're plugged in. They know what's going on. They're reading blogs. They're reading news. They're making memes. I don't think so. Just looking at gamers, it's regular people putting up the cat videos. Okay, the cat videos for sure. I'll grant you that, sure. I don't know what you mean by regular people. If they know how to record a video of their cat and they know how to post it to Reddit and Twitter, I gotta say that's not a super casual person. My wife's a casual gamer. I try and show her memes and looks at me like I have two heads and I'm speaking an alien language. That's what I'm saying. How many casual gamers do you think are plugged into Reddit and Twitter and understand meme speak? I'm pretty sure I'm a hardcore gamer, says Zubair. I really enjoyed it, and not because it's a cat. It's a really well-done little bundle of fun. I need to know who has played this versus who has just seen it played, says Zubair. Casual gamers play PUBG? I mean, and there's... Casual gamers play every game type that's out there. There are casual gamers who play Fortnite, who play Apex, who play Call of Duty. I have a hard time believing that the population of people who are posting videos and Twitter and memes and all of that, I don't think those are casual. Because you're saying, this is the argument that I push back on. The premise was trotted out that Stray, the Stray game, is going viral because of casual gamers. And I'm like, absolutely not. No. Gaming news outlets and forums and Reddit and Twitter and YouTube and streamers, they're the ones doing the memes and making it go viral. They're the ones that first started posting the videos of their cats watching them play. So I'm not saying that casual gamers aren't helping the game's success, but the people going to Steam to give it a great review and to post a video or a meme on the internet, the percentage of those people that are casual, I don't think is very high. I'm casual, I understand some games just because of Hex being an addicted gamer. Right, so you're almost like attached to a hardcore gamer, right? You're on the sidecar. So like, it's hard to even say that you're casual at that point. Like by osmosis, you're not. Okay, animal lovers wouldn't react this positively over a bad game, would they? That's a good point. That's a good point. There's got to be something special and good about it if people are reacting so positively to it. Akuta Papa says, I think we need to wait and see how long the game sticks. The game doesn't have longevity. The game may be forgotten by the time we get to the awards. Oh, I don't think so. I don't think recency bias will kill this. It's a cat game, and the memes are hilarious. The memes are absolutely hilarious. This game's not going to disappear into the ether of the goldfish memory of the internet. Not for a long time, no. How would a casual game be swarming over this? How would casual gamers be swarming over this game? It hasn't been marketed much as far as I've seen. Wheezy says it hasn't been marketed at all. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Even PETA could not hate on the game. Name another game where you solely play as a cat. You know what I love about our community is that we're actually having a hot knockdown drag out debate about a cat game. I absolutely love that this is what we're getting to do right now. If you're enjoying the show and you've never been here before, it's a safe for work video game talk show all throughout the week. We already did a show on Halo. This is our second show of the day. Do me a favor. It supports my channel for free if you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. So do those things. If you want to support directly, you can become a member for $5, or you could gift members. We love to see those gifted memberships and new members. We do members content every day of the week, including Friday night with my wife. And this Friday night's community game night. Speaking of casual gamers, if you like Fall Guys or you're not a huge fan but your kids like Fall Guys, get Fall Guys installed and make sure you're here Friday night if you're a member. Also make sure you're in our Discord server if you're a member so you don't miss out on all your perks. I love cats, but an indie game already won Game of the Year last year. That's what we were saying. Indie games can win. That doesn't mean they can't win again. I don't post names. I don't post memes or threads on Reddit or Twitter. Am I a casual or just a gamer who doesn't do those things? What I was trying to argue, Diaz, and thanks for the comment on the Sekiro playthrough. I think it's hilarious that you're going back and watching that. And you're like, in typical Lono fashion. I told my cousin when he told me that I'm bad at FromSoft games, I was like, I'm not bad, I'm just stubborn. I'm actually quite good and proficient. I get the job done. I'm just a stubborn son of a gun, right? Anyway, Diaz, I'm not saying that if you don't go to Reddit and forums and Twitter and do memes that you're not hardcore. What I'm saying is it's incredibly unlikely that casual gamers are swarming the internet with memes, jokes, references, etc. Right? Everyone needs to do meow speak for a bit. Listen to me, meow. If this game was being played only by casual gamers, meow wouldn't be seeing this. I can't do it. You wouldn't be seeing this happening. I don't think. Like, the point that I'm making is casual gamers are the least likely gamers to do all these things on Twitter and Reddit and YouTube and the like. I don't think those environments are where casual gamers, they don't come swarming to do what's happening. I think hardcore, like, daily gameplay gamers are doing this. Look at the way it's dominating the Steam scoreboards. You think casual gamers are doing that? There's not one serious gamer putting a serious review up? Absolutely, demonstrably false. You guys ready for this? I love when somebody tees me up. That's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. I love it. I absolutely love that you just said that. Stray review, IGN, GameRanks, Dreamcast Guy, GameSpot, SkillUp, Gaming Bolt, Easy Allies, Reforge Gaming, yeah! The Escapist. What do you mean? Alana Pierce. What are you talking about? Do you use YouTube? How are you here? The reviews are freaking casual. Your outlook on it's casual, prosy. I'm just kidding. That was a little much. It was a little much. What do you mean? What do you mean these are casual? These are career YouTubers and gaming outlets. What are you talking about? What do you mean they're casual? You originally said, this is what you said, and when you get proven wrong, you move the goalpost. There's not one serious gamer putting a serious review up. Really? Alana Pierce and SkillUp and Dreamcast Guy, they're not serious gamers? So are you just gatekeeping everything now? Well, the only reason this game is popular is because of casual gamers. And there's no serious reviews out there. Oh, let's take a look. Here's a bunch of serious reviews from people who literally make a career out of talking about video games. Oh, but they're casual. Oh, shut the frick up. You just, every 10 feet, you're building a gate. You're like, no. Gate. Not a real gamer. You're casual. Here's a new gate. Yeah, no, you're not a serious gamer. This isn't a serious game review. I've just made 8 gates in a row and nobody's really getting through. This game's popularity isn't actually that accredited to real gamers. Come on, bro. This isn't even, you're not even making a real argument. A $2 tip from Insomniac Black. This is a serious thing about Game of the Year we memeing. I actually think Stray could win. I'm not kidding around. It could be the upset. My prediction is that it won't. My prediction is that it will get a nomination. But it could. That's the point. And somebody being like, it's only popular because casuals are making it go viral and no serious gamers have posted game reviews. Shut up. That's not true at all. I just showed a bunch of serious people making reviews. What are you even talking about? A different era hitting a 2-month milestone. Did you finish Returnal and did you share the same feeling of difficulty amongst the community? Do those games need an easy mode? No, Returnal's a masterpiece. If anybody frickin' tries to touch that game with a difficulty mod or an easy mode, then you're not playing Returnal and you didn't beat Returnal. If somebody adds in some easy mode mod, then you're soft and you missed out on an amazing experience. And you don't understand what makes rogues special and good. And I say that as somebody who doesn't like rogues. I say that as somebody who doesn't like rogues. Jacksepticeye just uploaded 3 2-hour-long videos playing through it. Yeah, Jacksepticeye, another non-serious, gamer. Don't have to consider what he says. Can we trust SkillUp? Why would we not trust SkillUp? What's he done to betray trust? I feel like his reviews are accurate and honest. And 9 times out of 10, people come in here and try and win points by insulting him. And I'm like, you do realize 90% of the time I agree with him. I've almost never watched one of his reviews and disagreed with him. So when you're insulting him, you're almost inadvertently insulting me sometimes. It's been a while since I felt the need to go play to see what happens next. I was compelled. The "oh, it's a kiddie" thing only lasts about 20 minutes. Then it's just a game. I trust Skill Up more than most people I know. I might disagree with him, but I'd trust him with almost anything. Yeah, I don't feel like he's an untrustworthy person. What I want to know is, could Stray be formatted for phones, iPads, and such? It would dramatically expand the reach. I don't know if you could turn it into a mobile game. I do think the fact that it's not free roam jumping, you could potentially port it. You know what I mean? To be fair, says Akuta Papa, I would call all the outlets as casual and never take any of their reviews seriously. I trust you, Skill Up, and other names way, way more. While I appreciate that, Akuta Papa, I do think when there's that level of consensus, you can give some merit to what everybody's saying. If I'm saying it and Skill Up saying it and IGN saying it and Dreamcast guy saying it, like if all these people across a spectrum of personality, right? If Alana Pierce, if everybody's saying it, that means something, I think. I appreciate you putting me at a higher threshold of like, I trust Lono more than some of these other outlets. I think you have good reason to be a little suspect of some of the stuff that IGN puts out, right? Like puff pieces for Bungie, or reviews that seem heavily inflated like we saw with Deathloop. I do think, like, I take that as a compliment that, like, yeah, I trust Lono a little bit more. Some of these outlets can sometimes be seemingly bought, okay? But right now, that's not necessarily what we're talking about. We're talking about somebody claiming that very reductionistically, very, very dismissively being like, Stray's popularity is only because casual gamers are making it go viral. That's false. When you look at Reddit and Twitter forums and YouTube, and people are posting memes and reviews and gameplay, and it's being praised and consumed and viewed, where do you think those likes and retweets and favorites and views and upvotes come from? Where do you think they're coming from? They're coming from people that consume internet video game media at a high level or at a regular level. Those aren't casual gamers. Most of those gamers are not casual. Some of them are, but the lion's share of the people coming to YouTube and consuming reviews and gameplay and retweeting and upvoting stuff on Reddit and Twitter, those people are mostly very engaged, not casual gamers. We went through this all the time when I covered Destiny, all the frickin' time. The people that are on Twitter and Reddit and live stream chats and engaged in my Q&A, it's like, you're not casual. You may play a casual amount of hours, but you are not a casual gamer. You are plugged in, committed, and informed. A casual gamer is the dad who gets home on a Friday night, he's never checked Reddit, he doesn't check streams, props his feet, and plays the game. And those people, yes, are likely playing Stray and enjoying it, but they're not the ones making it go viral. They're not the ones driving review scores on Steam. No. The number of downloads, the number of players, sure. I'll give you that. Yeah, tons of casuals download a cat game and play it and look at the success. But the people leaving review scores, no. I don't classify those people as casual. I don't believe that the number of downloads that this thing has experienced on Steam, I don't believe that 43,000 casual players went to Steam to give it a good score. I don't buy that for a second. No. No way. This thing is being loved by gamers. First and foremost, the categories we're using, I'm using them not in a dismissive way. I think they were being used as in a dismissive way, which is one of the reasons my hackles got raised. I was like, hold the frickin' phone. No. Trebellion with 8-month milestone of memberships. I thought my daughter would have got Stray. She loves cats, but she's like, now we're starting to go down a barrel. Piss game of the year. She got upset. I'm not sure. That sentence kind of fell apart. Wheezy says, who cares if they're casual or not? Right. But I think when you look at the votes and the videos and the posts and the memes, to conclude that that's just a bunch of casuals making the game go viral, I think that's a very, very disingenuous way to talk about why this game's so popular. This game is not popular because a bunch of casuals have stormed the internet with cute cat videos. That's not true. Is it a factor? Sure. There's probably some pretty low-key casual moms, dads, and you know, busy people out there that don't really consider themselves a hardcore gamer that thought it would be cute to post a video on, you know, on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, and that, you know, they post like once a year. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure there's people doing that, but they're not the majority. Trying to dismiss their opinion just because they're casual is elitist, and quite frankly, it makes me think less of you, says Wheezy. Everyone likes the game instead of just one group. Now I'm mad. I don't know. Casual gamers weren't allowed to have an opinion. I didn't know casual gamers weren't allowed to have an opinion. I'm just going to say it before it happens. I wanted to do it for radio, but we rarely use radio. What? Well, Lono, I'm just going to say it before it happens? What are you talking about? Zubair says, I got you, Quiet Shy. You don't feel like it is a label used to dismiss opinions. I agree. I think it's useful for understanding patterns, though, like hardcore NFL fans versus people that watch games. Yeah, I do think I'm more talking about behavioral patterns of gamers more than I'm trying to act like we can dismiss their opinions. I do think there are behavioral patterns that would let you say, this is a pretty hardcore gamer, they're pretty plugged in and informed, and this person's pretty casual. I actually don't even think hardcore and casual is how often you play. I think it's a state of mind. Yo, Smashville gifting 5 memberships. That's so kind. If you get a membership, guys, make sure and get in the Discord so you don't miss out on the members-only content. Bleep got one. Irwin got one. Stick Like a Weapon and CR and Option all got gifted memberships. If you are just now getting a membership, remember to get in our Discord so you don't miss out on the members-only content. If you want to vote on Stray Game of the Year, do you think it wins or gets the nomination? Take the poll at the top of the chat and help roll me over to 200 likes. We only need 14 more likes on the video to get to 200. There's been 357 votes on the poll. Most of you are saying it gets a Game of the Year nomination, 65%, and no nominations getting 22%. 13% of you actually think it will win. I love the long shot votes. I love it. Yeah, I wasn't sure, Creature. I wasn't sure. I was unsure myself. What? I owe you 5. Okay, you owe me 5. It's a charming, well-crafted 5-hour experience you'd play on a day off, but it doesn't attempt to do anything special. I disagree with the last part, Ghost. I think it does attempt to do something special. Track with me. Stray as a game, Stray gameplay is super ambitious. It's incredibly ambitious, and let me explain why. This game wouldn't have worked if they didn't get certain fundamentals absolutely right, and one of those things is motion capture on a cat. That's ambitious. Listen, guys, if we're going to do this, if we're going to pull this off, if people are going to play a cat game, if they're going to play our Stray cat game and they're going to like it, we absolutely have to nail the mocap. We've watched plenty of games where mocap on animals is okay, maybe a little rigid, maybe a little stiff. They nailed it. That's ambitious. That's good work. That's actually them attempting to do something special, in my opinion. You ran out of characters. It's a surprise she didn't buy it, and now it's a potential Game of the Year, says Trebellion. The main character doesn't say a single word in the entire game, but you form an attachment. That's an accomplishment. Another great accomplishment. Yes. Just like in Ori and the Blind Forest, none of the characters say anything. They make sounds and noises, and yet you grow an attachment and you love the main characters in Ori and the Blind Forest and in Ori and the Will of the Wisps. When something's being universally praised, it's kind of weird to try and gatekeep, says Wheezy. Motion capture instead of motion capture. Zubair says, get out. Feline fidelity. Anyone who owns a cat fell in love with this with the backpack when the backpack was put on. Stray needs a sequel because the cat still doesn't get... Oh, why would you spoil that? That's rude. I feel like seeing a brand new fresh name in chat that immediately wants to do a story spoiler. I feel like you're being rude. Yeah, that feels rude to me. Yeah. Your account's not brand new, but you come across as a pretty rude person. Or your top 3 channels that you watch that are not me. Thanks, Hex. That's very kind. Ori's my top 10. Did anyone cry? So good. No one had a problem when Elden Ring was getting praised from every level, but somehow Stray can't be universally praised. Your bias is showing, says Wheezy. Got people here who'd consider hardcore gamers who are praising it, and yet people claim casuals only like it. Well, I want to be fair to the position, Eugene. He didn't say only casuals like it. He was saying this game is only hitting this level of popularity because casuals are making it go viral. So I want to be fair to his position. I don't think he was saying only casuals like it. He was saying casuals are making it go viral. And I immediately said, no. All the memes and posts are not being created and posted by casual gamers. Absolutely not. You expect me to believe that you define a casual gamer as someone who knows how to use Twitter, Reddit, and YouTube and forums. They're savvy with memes and meme speak. Not only that, they know how to make a meme and post a meme. I'm supposed to believe that those are casual gamers? I don't think so. No. I don't think the lion's share of the people that are posting funny videos and memes that we would classify them as casuals. I'll own what I said, it's a casual game. I don't think anybody's argued against it being a casual game. I think we've all said it's an amazing game and it's a super chill game. No one said it's not casual. I took issue with how you framed it. You framed it in a way that this thing's going viral because of casuals. I fundamentally disagree. No. This game is doing numbers because it appeals to everyone. And everybody's loving it and making memes and jokes and posts. And then you said, no serious reviewer has reviewed it. And I posted all these outlets. Who do you consider a serious reviewer that just decided, I'm not going to touch Stray? This thing's hot as a red-hot iron poker out of the fire. This thing's red hot. And you're telling me serious reviewers just decided, oh, I'm not playing that game. Who in your mind is a serious reviewer or review outlet that just skipped this? Who? I mean, how many review outlets reviewed it on Metacritic for PC and for PlayStation 5? 85 critics, 85 PlayStation 5 Metacritic reviewers, and 37. Over 100 official Metacritic reviewers reviewed it. Let's see how many people did reviews of Halo Infinite. 98. So there's more Metacritic official critic reviews of Stray than Halo Infinite. Now, its user score is not quite as high yet. It has 853 user score on PlayStation 5 and 263 on the PC. The user scores haven't caught up yet, but the main outlets, the main critics are reviewing it on Metacritic. Name them right now. Don't go looking for names. Yeah, who didn't do it? I'm pushing on your position. Like that's what we do here, by the way. If you've never been here before, this is fun. We're actually hotly debating Stray. As a game of the year. Like, do you think Stray Game of the Year 2022 can happen? Right? You know what I'm saying? That's what we're talking about. And it's fun to debate. I'm pushing on Prozy's position. Oh, you can't? You don't know who a real reviewer even is then? Yeah, name them right now. Eugene's like, come on. When a grandmother plays Stray, it's casual. Stop. No, that's a red herring. We've conceded the point. No one here is arguing it's a hardcore game. We've conceded it's a casual game. There's nothing wrong with casual games. It Takes Two was casual. It was very approachable and fun and very easy. Every time you died, you came right back. It was a very casual game, and it won Game of the Year. It Takes Two was very casual. There's nothing wrong with having a casual, approachable game. Are we talking about professional critics, or are people that don't really post about games did a review? You're the one that said it. What do you mean are we talking about? You said it. What do you mean? You said no serious reviewer reviewed this game. Who did you have in mind when you said that? Who's a serious reviewer? Who? We're not the one that said it. I would argue that It Takes Two didn't deserve Game of the Year. Upon replaying it, I fully agreed that it won. It 100% deserved it. I did know one, Total Biscuit. Well, rest in peace, Total Biscuit. He's not around anymore. He would have covered this game. Are you kidding me? Total Biscuit would have covered this game. Somebody said they're forced to cover it if it's popular. Oh, so that... Oh, yeah, there we go. So if Fall Guys Game of the Year because it's popular all of a sudden... So the best way to get a really good argument going is to actually engage with my argument, which you have not. No one here, myself included, has said Stray's going to get a nomination because it's popular. Nobody said that. We're saying it's clearly got something special because it's popular, right? No one is saying this game's going to win Game of the Year because it's so popular. Well, I mean, then every single game that gets to a popular level would win. That's not what we're arguing. So if you want to have an argument, you need to engage with what we're saying. No one is saying that. Every big gamer review did a review on it. Exactly, Nuke. Exactly. Or Nook. I'm sorry. I always mispronounce your name. Yo, my man Behemoth gifting 5 memberships. Raheem, Legacy, Resurrect, Noi, and Kevin D. Is that 5? Yeah, that's all 5 members have been taken. Make sure and get in the Discord if that's your first time having a membership here. That way you don't miss out on your membership perks or our members-only content. You really want to be in the membership pool in the Discord. Thank you so much, Behemoth, for doing that. That might have pushed us to 1,300. We're trying to get to 1,500 members because that will make my wife go. She'll have to play Elden Ring again on a members-only stream on a Friday night. And we currently have 1,249. So we're 50 away from 1,300. We're going to have a really, really strong run if it's going to happen. If it's going to happen. If she's going to go back in and play. We need a strong run end of July. Animal Crossing was a nominee in 2020. Yeah, guys, make sure and thank Behemoth for that. That's very generous, Behemoth. Thank you. I also like to spew points and not back them up with facts. Hey, that's what I'm saying. Your business is games. If it's popular, you have to review it. The reviews are basic. Okay, Prozy, then listen. You can earn some respect here. Earn some respect. You got to own the fact that you misspoke then. You said no serious reviewers have reviewed this, and you can't substantiate that claim with any examples. You're moving the goalposts. You're basically saying the reviews are casual and the game is casual. But that's not what you were originally stating. You were casting the game in this dismissive light of well, it's only popular because casuals are making it go viral. I smacked that down a couple of times in multiple different ways. Well, no serious reviewer reviewed it. Well, okay, you can't substantiate that claim. The goalposts are moving so fast, they're starting to redshift. East Coast Overlord with a $5 tip through Super Chat. How heavy of a game is Stray? Thinking about picking it up for my Steam Deck after I finish Metal Gear Rising. Not very heavy at all. It'll run fine. Can't take Stray seriously. Robert and Ebert haven't reviewed it. That's what I'm saying. That's my opinion. The game will be an afterthought in 90 days. I respect Prosy. There's nothing special about the game. Okay, now you're misunderstanding what's happening. I'm not arguing that you should think it's special. I don't have to defend how special it is. It is special. It's climbed to the top 49th on Steam 250. It's the #1 reviewed game on Steam. Like, I don't have to say that like, I don't care that you don't think there's anything special about it. That would be like you being like, I don't think silverback gorillas are very strong. Okay, that no one needs to defend the strength of a silverback gorilla to you. Your opinion doesn't matter. It's an objective reality that it's strong. At an objective level, there is clearly something special about Stray, even if you don't like it. Like, you can't undo what's happened. If Elden Ring doesn't get Game of the Year, there's something wrong with the Game Awards. I don't agree with you. I don't agree with you. I think that Elden Ring could get knocked off the podium by God of War Ragnarok, and I wouldn't be like, your Game Awards are a joke. No. We haven't played it yet. We don't know. Can't preemptively conclude that. That just seems ludicrous to preemptively conclude that, like, well, if anything else wins, then this whole thing is a sham, you know. Just say you don't like it. Don't spout BS to justify it. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm trying to show some of y'all. It's totally fine. One second, mama. It's totally fine to be like, I didn't like it. I don't think it's that impressive. That's fine. But to act like it's only popular because of casuals or no serious reviewers reviewed it. Both of those claims have been falsified and displayed to be just empty. There's no truth to them. There's no substance to them. You are allowed to not like games. You don't have to substantiate your dislike with false claims. That's just silly. You don't need to do it. Forget about lunch. What's in there? Okay. Smells like pizza. Prosy did not misspeak, and further in this forum, you have a duty to not misspeak. You're responsible for the words you type. Wait, who's saying he misspoke? What? Oh. God of War 2, are you serious? We've seen trailers. It's not doing anything new. It's a glorified expansion. Okay. 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 It's amazing to me that you would come to such a sharp conclusion off of trailers. This coming from the guy that had all of his statements about The Last of Us Remake falsified. I went back and watched the VOD, by the way, Cred. It was amazing how firm you were in your position and how flimsy it became as we went. You literally said earlier in that broadcast about The Last of Us 2 Remake, you quite literally said, I work in this field and there are textures in the trailer and assets that have been reused. And we went through and falsified all those claims. Like, you were so firm and so absolutist early in the stream, became a flimsy mess by the end. And now you're saying God of War Ragnarok has apparently no shot at Game of the Year because, quote, we've seen trailers, it's not doing anything new, it's a glorified expansion. I feel like some of you guys need badges that just say, I love Xbox so much I say dumb stuff. Like, that's got to be your motivation. What other motivation would you just instinctively just be negative and say stupid stuff about Sony titles? It doesn't make any sense to me. It just doesn't make any sense. Ragnarok is not out. We have a story trailer and you're like, glorified expansion. Okay, go sit on the bench with the Dum Dum Squad that was saying that the remake is a remaster. Go sit on the bench with the Dum Dum Squad that said that Demon Souls is basically a remaster and not a remake. Just go sit on the Dum Dum Squad seats. Funny how David Jaffe agreed with everything I said. Funny how David Jaffe walked back his comments after the backlash on the internet. So no, you're incorrect. And David Jaffe's not touched the game, played the game, seen the game. So shut the frick up. Yeah, you can sit on the Dum Dum Squad bench with David Jaffe. He's over there too. He's the coach. He's the coach of the Dum Dum Squad. So yeah, go join him over there. Sure. He walked his statements back. and said that it's completely legitimate to refer to sequels as DLC. So yeah, sit on the Dum Dum Squad bench with him, because he's the team coach. He's the team coach. Hasn't touched the game, hasn't played the game, hasn't seen the game. Just some dumb brain-dead take calling a sequel DLC. Yeah, that's your Dum Dum Squad team coach. I'm glad that you like him, because he's over there with you, just being an absolute dum-dum. I knew this subject would get spicy. Do you want to know why? You can't play the game on the Xbox. That's why I knew this would get spicy. Talking about The Last of Us, bud? Oh no. Oh no, David Jaffe agrees with you about The Last of Us 2? Oh no. Oh no. He's an intellectual giant of game commentary right now, saying things like God of War Ragnarok, he referred to it as DLC. Oh my gosh. Oh no. You clearly have an intellectual giant in your corner. He's just got so much integrity. Yeah, he's just such an honest guy. I would trust his judgment of games, sure. The dude called God of War Ragnarok DLC, and then had to walk it back because he looked like such a brain-dead moron. You can call sequels DLC. Shut up. Shut up. He's the developer of two of the most iconic games. You kidding me? Yeah. He can still be dumb. What, you think? So, if a really, really great movie director started throwing shade at movies that he didn't direct, he's automatically correct? See, it's funny. You dialed in fallacy of the expert the other day for yourself, and you're doing it again. You think he's what? Beyond criticism or repute because he worked on two really great iconic games? What the heck? Huh? Like, if Steven Spielberg started taking, like, lowbrow shots at other movies, we wouldn't be like, well, I mean, he directed some of the best movies ever, so nobody would say that. You'd be like, he sounds like an idiot. He sounds like a petty baby. What does this have to do with Xbox again? I knew that if I picked this as a subject, I knew some of y'all would show up and say dumb stuff. I knew it. I was like, I bet you $10 if I argue for Stray Game of the Year nomination or potential sweeper win or whatever, like it has a shot, look how crazy popular it is. I knew I thought it would take 45 minutes before we got some brain dead takes. I just knew. I was like, I guarantee you people are going to come in and say dumb stuff because it's not on the Xbox. If this thing was an Xbox exclusive and it was also on Steam and it was crushing it and dominating the Steam charts, I was like, there's no way people would be coming in and saying this nonsense. No way. Like, I knew. I was like, I guarantee you. And look at the takes we've had. It's only popular because casuals are making it go viral. You know, you got to name check before you respond to someone. I'm not sure what you mean. Oh, Zubair responded to somebody, like the wrong person. Read Zubair's convo with Raheem. What's Raheem saying? Lono, think Raheem figured me out. I gotta go. What'd Raheem say? I can't find him in chat. Major spoiler, Darth Kitty is the Stray's father. I played the game. I've been gaming since 2001, AVB2. I do not need to prove anything to you. Sorry, but I think you're engaging because of my name. We are not the same. That's... Zubair engages with everybody in chat. What are you talking about? I wouldn't vote it for Game of the Year because it doesn't interest me at all. I'm sorry. It has nothing to do with the platform it's on. Well, no, Jamquits. I think you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. If you come in here and you think Stray Game of the Year nomination, no shot. Why? I just didn't think it was that good. I didn't like it that much. That's fine. I made an argument at the beginning of the stream of why it might win, why it might not win, and my prediction is it gets a nomination, but it's not going to win, right? So when you say that, I'm not saying that has anything to do with Xbox. I didn't say anything about Xbox. Funny enough, you guys are bringing up Xbox. I pointed out that some of the people that came in the other day with the Last of Us remake criticisms are doing the same thing today. And it's just strange to me. Anything associated with Sony, they're like automatically dismissive of. It just seems weird. You sound like your fanboyism is the motivation. You brought up Xbox? I did, but I stopped after people started saying, oh, it has nothing to do with Xbox, it has nothing to do with Xbox. All I did was make the observation that the same people that were in here the other day, they're all doing the same thing. You always sound like you're just taking up for Xbox. It's like, wow, another game not on Xbox, and you're being like overly critical of it and having really weird takes and acting like, oh, this is garbage. You said the game's not on Xbox, and that's where the hate's coming from? Yeah, and why are so many people getting triggered by me saying that? Is it too on the nose? Is it too on the nose? I'm not talking about people that don't like the game. I was talking about the people that said things like, God of War Ragnarok is a glorified expansion. How does that not sound like an Xbox fanboy? You think a genuine, thoughtful, intellectual gamer, educated person who owns a PlayStation is saying that? You think someone who owns a PlayStation 5 is saying that God of War Ragnarok looks like a glorified expansion? It's on PC. It's console exclusive. Try to keep up. Every time we've had one of these conversations, the brain dead takes, they all sound the same. They sound rooted in console fanboyism. And then when I bring it up, people get real defensive, probably because it's close to the mark. If you're like, oh, I don't care about consoles, then why are you calling God of War Ragnarok a glorified expansion? Why? What's that rooted in? Where's that coming from? Saying that Stray's only popular because casuals are making it go viral and no serious reviewer reviewed it. We falsified both those statements. Why are you saying that? We were literally the day I was playing Stray, Willie, a known, really huge Xbox fan, came in and immediately bashed the game and said it looked like trash. Like some little kid's game or something. I didn't say it was garbage. I said it looked boring. I was hyped for Stray, but not after watching. It looked tedious. I like cats, but that's why I was going to play it. Yeah, but a hit dog barks. Why are you responding as if you're an Xbox fanboy? I didn't say anything to you, Frostbite. I didn't call you out. A hit dog barks. Why are you acting like I mentioned you or named you? I didn't. So the mention of Xbox fanboys, all of a sudden people are getting real defensive. Well, a hit dog barks. So it's like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't name any one of you. I said it sounds like Xbox fanboyism. You not liking Stray is not what I'm talking about. You're completely overreacting and getting overly defensive. If I say that and you're like, I just don't like the game, I wasn't talking about you. You're clearly not listening if you think I was referring to somebody who just doesn't like Stray. You're clearly not listening. I was responding to somebody who said God of War Ragnarok looked like a glorified expansion. I was talking to a guy who made a bunch of claims about The Last of Us remake the other day that were false. You mentioned Dum Dum with Demon Souls, which was me. Yeah, well, you made it. You said things that are literally stupid. What do you want me to do? You're the one who chose to say stupid things. That's not my fault. You're the one that said Demon Souls was copy-paste and was just prettier and it wasn't a remake. You're the one who said that. That's your fault, not mine. If you walk in here and you say that you think that the sun is made out of cheese and the moon is made out of butt crack dust from plumbers, I'm gonna be like, that's a stupid thing to say. Why would you say something so stupid? You're the one who typed the stupid thing, not me. If you're gonna type something stupid, then you get to wear it. You get to wear it. When you say that Stray's only popular because casuals are making it go viral and no serious reviewer reviewed it, you get to wear that. Congratulations. Anytime you come back, that's in my mind when you commentate on something. That's on you, not me. That's on you. Stray is available on Steam right now, not PS5 exclusives. Keep up, man. I know it's really hard. I know it's really hard because you're hungry to be right because it'll make you feel good, but it's a console exclusive. This is a new term in the industry that you seemingly are unaware of. Try to keep up. In their defense, I think their issue is the fact that you went straight to the fact that they may be Xbox fanboys, which sounds dismissive. So, with respect, I'm being dismissive of dismissive commentary. Suck it up, Cupcake. When you come in and say stupid, dismissive things like, it's glorified expansion, only casuals are praising this game, only casuals are reviewing this game, if I dismiss your commentary as sounding like Xbox fanboy, suck it up, Cupcake, you did it first. If you're going to be dismissive, expect your commentary to be dismissed as just sounding stupid or like fanboyism. What did I say to the one guy? I said, if you want to engage in a discussion and a debate, actually engage with what people are saying. If you're just going to come in and be dismissive, then yeah, I'm going to be dismissive too. I'm not going to give that any quarter. Why should I treat it with any shred of intellectual respect or kindness? You just come in and say something dumb and I'm supposed to be like, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Just come in and dismiss a game as it's a glorified expansion. It's not out yet. You have a story trailer for God of War Ragnarok dismissed as basically it's just an expansion. The only reason Stray is popular is because casuals are making it go viral. No serious reviewer has reviewed the game. It's so weird that I threw out a game that I think has a contention for Game of the Year nomination. And because it's console exclusive to Sony, I was confident I'd get some of these dumb takes. And you guys just walked right into my trap card. And you came in and you did it. And you got mad when I dismissed it as, sounds like Xbox fanboyism. You walked right into my trap card. I knew. I was like, this game's crushing it right now. I bet you $10 I throw this out and they'll walk right into it and say dumb stuff about it. And we didn't make it very far before it happened. How long has the game been out? Has it even had time to percolate down to the casuals? Honest question, how long does it take? Yeah, I don't know. Don't talk to me like I'm stupid because I say it's available on Steam. I'm knocking down your BS console war injection into this when people can play it on other platforms like PC. Okay. You're having a very difficult time grappling with the discussion, Detective Seeds, because you've been proven wrong, and now your hackles are raised. A console exclusive is quite literally what would trigger a console fanboy. Do you understand? Like, the fact that it's exclusive to PlayStation as a console does cause these sorts of things to happen. I'm supposed to think it's a total coincidence that the same people that are bashing God of War Ragnarok, Last of Us Remake, the same people just come in and coincidentally start knocking a console exclusive PlayStation game? What, they all just think exactly the same things about three completely unrelated games? The only commonality between them is Sony? That's because it's not an Xbox fanboyism. The game is generic. It's the cat. Remove the cat, replace it with Mario, and people would be ripping it a new one for being so bad. Yeah, you're right. And take the cars out of Forza and replace them with skateboards, and people would be ripping the game for being so bad. You're exactly right. Rip the fundamental identity out of the game, and then it's a bad game. What a dizzying, wonderfully, intellectually deep argument you've just outlined. You're right. Just rip the fundamental identity out of the game, replace it with something else, and it wouldn't be a good game. Yeah, you're right. What a wonderful argument that is. That's true of virtually every game in existence. Now, this cowboy game would really suck if you rip the cowboys and horses out and you replaced it with, drunks and go-karts. Mario is a good platformer. I don't believe that Stray is. Okay. Has nothing to do with the argumentation. What if we put a cat in Forza? Bella says, I'm an Xbox exclusive player. I've seen plenty of Sony exclusive that look like good games. Just because Stray doesn't look like a good game doesn't mean I'm some salty Xbox fan. Like I said, I think those of you that are big-time Xbox fans, your hackles got raised about something that wasn't even directed at you. If you literally looked at trailers for Stray or gameplay and you're like, it doesn't look that good, I wasn't talking to you. I literally was responding to somebody who just got done saying that God of War Ragnarok looked like a glorified expansion. Really try to listen. Listen very carefully. That's the type of person I was replying to. Not once during this stream did I ever say, those of you that don't like Stray are Xbox fanboys. You're creating something that didn't happen, which makes me a little suspicious. Why would you insert that into the narrative? I never once said, the people that don't like this game are clearly just a bunch of Xbox fanboys. I didn't say that. I quite literally said, when you're going to respond and reply and say, that PlayStation game's trailer, it looks like a glorified expansion. And then you said a bunch of false stuff about The Last of Us Remake. And now you're in here driving some negative narrative about Stray. You sound like an Xbox fanboy to me. You do. That's what you sound like. It does, and I'll keep saying it. You know what an expansion is? You make it just incredibly easy to not respect your opinions because you're intellectually bankrupt. You're just a dishonest person. So your commentary cred is just so empty and vapid. Now you're trying to pull the David Jaffe. Are you David Jaffe on an alt? Who are you? Now you're like, you're basically arguing you can call a sequel an expansion. You have no intellectual credibility at all. You're a dishonest person. You don't argue in good faith, and you move goalposts, and you make statements that aren't true, and when they get falsified, you cowardly act like there's other points to be made. You are a cowardice, falsified, intellectually bankrupt arguer. You deserve zero respect in the engagement. You're dishonest. Like, you're not worth engaging with. You're just dishonest. It's not worth engaging with people that are just going to say things that aren't true. And then they get really pedantic and hair-splitty to be like, well, I'm actually correct. Like, technically on paper, you could argue that a sequel's an expansion. Seriously, that you don't deserve any respect. Why would I even interact with that? It's pointless to interact with that. That's not an argument made in good faith. You're just a liar. You did it during the Last of Us remake stream. You disrupted the entire stream with a bunch of lies about stuff and claimed that you were some texture guy or you knew what you were talking about, and we falsified it all. Just to recenter the discussion, if you look at Stray and you think it's not an impressive game, I don't think it looks that great, you're allowed to think that. I've never once today tried to argue you should like or think the game is great. No. I was defending the game's popularity and how well it was doing and how well it was selling, which likely will lead to a nomination. But that's not me doing like a, oh, you're not allowed to think that. Who cares if it's a console exclusive when you can play it on other platforms? I guess we should change the industry's term if you can play on other platforms. I own all three, so I guess I'd see it differently. Detective Seeds, you're going to see console exclusive. It's not even going to brush your feathers. Console exclusive is 100% a thing. Like, that's a thing. And it literally is something that I had Xbox guys in here bragging about the one day. It was launching on the Xbox and it was launching on PC, and they're like, yeah, but it's a Microsoft title. It's a Microsoft title. Xbox exclusive, console exclusive. Starfield was the one that really was making them cheer for that. But the fact that I can get it on PC doesn't suddenly mean that that's not something that a PlayStation user might feel like they're missing out. There's even a leak recently. I really feel like you're not grappling with the fact that, like, console exclusive's a big deal. There's even a leak that said that Starfield was being considered to be a PlayStation 5 console exclusive. So, like, it's actually a pretty big deal for console exclusive to be, like, in the mix of the debate. The fact that it's a console exclusive is what would cause Xbox guys to how are you missing that? Right. You're not that. Like, you have every console, Detective Seeds, so you're like, why would anybody do that? You're exactly right. Why would anybody care? Why is this a consistent theme in our discussions? Anytime we have to talk about Sony property, I got to hear from people that are immediately dismissive of games and their quality. Like, some streamers like Stray, because it's a streamable game, they can engage and just chill. They don't have to focus on the game. So is Bugsnax a PlayStation console exclusive? I don't know. Somebody might have to answer that. Stray is timed just like that was. Yes, but Texas, in my experience, even if it's a timed exclusive, it still brings out the console tribalism. It still does. So even if it's a timed exclusive, look, I've been covering games for 8 years. I don't fire from the hip like just some mindless idiot like, yeah, you guys acting like... No, I've been covering games for close to a decade, and I'm here to tell you, the minute console exclusivity is a part of the discussion, it brings out the tribalism. It does every time. I understand it's a big deal, but do I agree with it? No, I do not when it's available on other platforms. If it was Sony only or Xbox only, then I would get it. Guess I'm the outlier in my thinking. You're not a console tribalist, Detective Seeds. That's why what I said sounded crazy to you. You see what I'm saying? Your intelligence is why you were like, why would you say that? That's exactly right. Why would anybody care? You're almost there. I'm telling you, there was clearly a bent in chat from certain people about this title, and they all were the same people that were dismissive of Ragnarok, that were dismissive of the remake of The Last of Us. If you're literally going to type out in a sentence that God of War Ragnarok looks like a glorified expansion based off of one story trailer, I already know who you are. Like, of course you're driving a negative narrative about Stray. You drive negative narratives about Sony properties. Who in their right mind is going to look at a story trailer of Ragnarok and be like, it's a glorified expansion? Who says something like that? Please tell me. What intellectual, educated game commentator is going to say that? Who? That's something that a fanboy would say. Like, do you see what I'm saying? That's not something that's rooted in, like, thoughtfulness or being charitable. It's like you're just immediately dismissive. It's like, oh yeah, glorified expansion. What? Huh? Every report I've read about the game, it sounds massive compared to the 2018 God of War Ragnarok. Serious question for my own education. Do you count Miles as a sequel? I believe it started as a DLC, if I remember right. I'm curious on what a dev does to count as a sequel. That would be considered like a, what do they call those games? What do they call the, Uncharted did it for $40 with Lost Legacy, and then Miles was like 40, was it not? I love how this completely derailed the actual topic of discussion, and now people are nitpicking things they didn't like about what they thought they heard. Listen, if you don't like me calling out fanboyism, then maybe be annoyed with the people that want to constantly come in here and grind a fanboy axe. So size to you equates a true sequel. Oh yeah, you're a fan of live service, never mind. Oh, I am a fan of live service because there's very successful live service games out there that people love and support, like Path of Exile, Diablo 3, Elder Scrolls Online, No Man's Sky, Destiny 2. Yeah. You're in my stream. You're on my channel, engaging with me, and you think that, like, I'm so dumb that you're going to dismiss me because I like live service. Why the frick are you here? Some people like more of the same with a fresh coat of paint. Oh, I see. You're one of the enlightened ones. I'm not. I'm just a dum-dum who likes something with a fresh coat of paint. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You've been playing games longer than he's been alive. It's not worth it. I'm not dismissing. Why are you being defensive? Oh, see, that's funny. See, what you do is you're a manipulator. You wrote that comment. It's a dismissive comment. You said, oh, so size to you equates a true sequel. Oh yeah, you're a fan of live service, never mind. That's dismissive. You're not, you're literally typing something in a smarmy, sarcastic way to dismiss me. You're like, you ask a question and then you sort of retract the question because, oh, well, you like live service. That's dismissive. Like, you either have zero self-awareness or you're just a douchebag. Like, you either don't read what you write because most of what you've written today and the last time we discussed something is just dishonest. Like, you just lie. Or you write something dismissive, and then when I call you on it, you're going to gaslight and be like, I wasn't dismissive. No, I'm saying you like live service. Nothing wrong with that, but I understand why you and I don't agree with God of War. Stop being defensive. Like, no. See, now you're trying to recategorize my position in a dismissive way. The only reason that I think God of War Ragnarok is a sequel is because I like live service. We don't agree on that, and that's why I like it. No, that is a dismissive recategorization of my argument. My argument about Ragnarok is that, number one, we haven't played the game. All we have is a story trailer. Everything we've heard about the game is that it's huge. And what do? You, in bad faith, lacking intellectual credibility and honesty, and in a dishonest way, you recouch my argument and say, oh, you think it's a sequel because it's big. You are a dishonest person. Everything I've said about Ragnarok, and you're like, let me whittle it down to this. Well, Lono thinks it's a sequel because the game's big. Never said that. Liar. You're a liar. You lied numerous times during the Last of Us stream, and you're lying today. You're just a liar. Recouch and recategorize and recast my argument so you can dismiss it. This must be your first rodeo in my stream if you think you're going to get away with that crap. You literally must have just shown up recently if you think, oh, I'm going to get away with this. I'm going to recategorize, recouch, and recast his argument, and he won't catch it. You literally just walked in from the bonfire. You smell like it. Like, I can tell what you're doing. I can smell it on you. You smell like smoke. If you're a fan of live service, wouldn't it make you actually think that Ragnarok is an expansion since you're used to that? I'm saying live service is one engine with new content, no major gameplay improvements, more content, more things to do. I don't like that you do. I think God of War looks like just that, based on a story trailer. Here's the problem with what you're doing. I'm actually going to break down what you're saying because it's genuinely so flimsy. It's incredibly flimsy, okay? So to you, a live service game is same engine, new content, no major gameplay improvements, okay? You just called virtually every sequel that I've ever played a live service expansion. You see, it's just flimsy. You're only doing it to God of War Ragnarok because of, in my opinion, it's based on bias. It's based on bias. Do you know how many sequels are that description? They use the same engine, the same assets. Why not? We got a character, we got a game, let's go, let's make another one. And they don't do any major gameplay improvements, which is a vague way for you to dismiss anything. Well, I didn't feel they were major gameplay improvements, so this is a live service game. Yeah, what Eugene is saying, no sequel in history has ever completely overhauled a game. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, if you apply this in other areas, it just doesn't work. It's like, that means virtually every sequel is not a sequel according to you. Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3, every single one of those games was completely overhauled. They were true sequels. Man, this is why it's so exhausting to interact with folks like you. You have your own definitions. True sequel. That's a true sequel. Halo 2 and 3 and 4 and those weren't true sequels because they didn't overhaul the game enough. Metal Gear Solid is in my top 3 franchises of all time. That's BS, absolutely BS. What's he saying that's BS, Eugene? You can't do too much of an overhaul, only so many ways to swing a sword, or in some games shoot a gun, if that's what you're referring to. That's what I'm saying, like, it's so hard to engage with folks like this because you have your own definitions. It's like, this is a true sequel, so we've not even touched God of War Ragnarok, and you're like, Well, I mean, it's clearly the same engine, and they're reusing some of the same assets and animations, so it looks like an expansion to me. That's not a sequel. Eugene is saying that Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 were not total overhauls. Metal Gear Solid totally revamped the original Nintendo game no one had heard of until the demo came out. They were improvements on the formula, not overhauls. Yeah, I can't comment on Metal Gear. That's my personal opinion of what an actual sequel is. This feels more like the Far Cry version of a sequel. Sure, Far Cry 3, 4, and 5 are technically different maps, but how different are they? What? So oh my gosh. So basically, the fact that... This is unbelievable to me. So the fact that Far Cry 3 to 4, the fact that they used... like similar systems and logistics, even to Far Cry 5. You're like, that's not a true sequel. It's bonkers to me. Oh, that was good neck crack. That's bonkers to me. It's like they have to have those things carry over because that's how you know that it's a sequel. How could you have Far Cry 4 and just completely overhaul everything? Don't do any of the same. Don't do any open world stuff. Don't do any bases. Don't do any map clearing mechanics. Don't do any of that. How is that not a sequel? Like, how would that even feel like a sequel if you did that? A better question would be, is it too similar to the original? Yeah, but like all the Gears games, right? Come on, everyone calls Ubisoft on this now. They're talking about how tired the formulaic their games are. Okay, no. Disagree. That's not what people take issue with Ubisoft. I don't agree with that. People don't like the fact that Ubisoft is so dense and so repeat activity that it feels like they just puked on the map. The difference between Assassin's Creed Origins and Odyssey and Valhalla are measurable. It's a demonstrable thing. Like, I could demonstrate just how different the fundamental combat systems are in those games. They're vastly different. People don't say, this is too much like the last game, this doesn't feel like a sequel. Nobody has said that about Valhalla or Odyssey. That's false. The crux of the criticism is too dense. It's too repetitious. There's too many activities that are the same. I get tired of it, right? I already did this in the last 3 villages. Nobody said Valhalla's too close to Odyssey or Odyssey's too close to Origins. They're vastly different games. Ubi takes a gameplay loop and applies it to every game they release. Right. They're taking issue with the loop. Like, you see, like, to me, it's like, that doesn't mean that Valhalla's not a sequel. It means, okay, they didn't innovate on the content loop or the systems enough, or it's too dense. Like, this is why you can't be so sweeping and reductionist, because it's like, well, that's not a good summary of the actual problems with Valhalla that people had. It's not a real sequel. It's too much like the last game. What? Insomniac with a $5 tip. By that logic, doesn't that mean that every Pokemon game is just DLC? Right. Akuta Papa. So if I play any game with a sword, are they all the same game? Or are all games with guns the same? Sure seems like it. Well, let's not be guilty of the same thing. Let's not reduce his position to something smaller than what he said. I don't think he's saying that. He's saying, yo, Christina with a 13-month milestone and it's a tier 2. Thank you so much. What he's saying is he sees a game that basically says, here's the engine, here's the animations, let's reuse most of this and just build another game. And he's saying, I'm trying to represent his position as good as possible. He's saying that's not divergent enough from the last game. It doesn't feel like a true sequel. It feels more like a live service expansion. And I think that's just I feel it's a ridiculous way to look at games because, number one, it's confusing. It's like, well, what's a sequel then? And then you got to get these real specific examples and these real particular reasons and nuances is why I feel like this game changed enough, sequel stamp. This game didn't change enough, it's an expansion. So it's like, when you have to understand, like, you have to have self-awareness to know that if you're going to look at a story trailer for God of War Ragnarok and say it just looks like an expansion, most of the gaming world, myself included, doesn't view sequels as rigidly as you. That's why I just dismissed what you said. I'm like, that just sounds like fanboyism. The fact that you actually have a thought-out position on it, I guarantee you is rare. The number of people that have been like, Ragnarok looks like DLC, Ragnarok's just basically DLC, I guarantee you they are not at all able to outline their position the way that you have. Most of them are just being dismissive fanboys. They're upset that Ragnarok's going to have a run of the Game Awards and the holiday season. It's going to be nuts. And they don't like it because it's not on their box. How similar do you think the next Witcher will be to 3? Do you think it will be overhauled and feel completely different than when it eventually comes out? Some of that is dependent upon the vision that they have for the game. Some of it's dependent on the window of time between them. Witcher 3 released in 2015. The Witcher 4 will likely release in 2 to 3 years, almost a decade later. So yeah, Ragnarok launching 4 to 5 years later, sure, it's going to be closer to the game that it's a sequel to. They're picking up the story and continuing it. That's a sequel. Thor's gonna show up, and Odin's gonna be mad, and they gotta go to Asgard. They're continuing the story. So yeah, it's gonna look and feel very similar to the last game. That makes sense. But if you wait 10 years to do the next game, I don't know. It might be significantly bigger. It might be significantly different. That's my point, is like, You've got to see how that sounds when you type something like that in a chat. If you expect me to take that seriously, then you'd have to spend more time arguing before saying something like that. God of War Ragnarok looks like glorified expansion. Just listen to it. Even if I say it nicely, I think God of War Ragnarok looks like a glorified expansion. You don't think other people are gonna like record scratch on it and be like, what? Based on what? A story trailer? That's all we have. And the reason that I bark at it, and the reason that I latch onto it like a dog and gnaw on it and shake it and try to dismantle it, is because people said the same stupid stuff about Horizon Forbidden West. And it was a very, very good, well-built, expanded upon sequel. It was a good sequel. It wasn't a glorified expansion. The people that said it looked just like the previous game were lying. It didn't. Yeah, and then you bring up Jaffe. I'm like, Jaffe literally referred to Ragnarok as DLC. That's so intellectually dishonest. He got so blasted for it that he walked it back and tried, again, just in right in step with being an intellectually dishonest person. He's like, you can refer to sequels as DLC. Oh, shut up. I'm done listening to you. Why would I listen to somebody saying stuff like that? Why? You said expanded. Busted. I've heard the term glorified expansion used a lot. I think people sometimes just want an excuse to use a term they recently heard. I didn't bring up Jaffe about God of War, so don't misrepresent me. Cred, you made the fatal mistake of jumping train tracks and you didn't tell anybody you were doing it. Because when you said God of War Ragnarok had no shot and it looked like a glorified remaster, I jumped on you, I made reference to The Last of Us remake, and then you said Jaffe agrees with me. So, guess what? Jaffe does agree with you. So even if I misinterpreted what you were saying, he does agree with you. He referred to it as DLC, and he got smacked. He got smacked right across the mouth by the public, and he had to walk his statements back. So it makes perfectly good sense why I misunderstood when you brought up Jaffe. And if you want to act like him agreeing with you is some feather in your cap, I got news for you. That feather is dirty and busted. It's not an impressive feather to put into your cap. Him agreeing with you means nothing. He's just another person that I feel like just says intellectually dishonest, right? Sorry, I didn't see the thing in mod chat. Yo, guys, yeah, make sure and hit the like button. Tony's like, hey, let's get to 300. Listen, some of you are like, why are you interacting with this guy? Right? Why are you debating this guy? To a certain extent, we got 45 minutes to an hour in, and I'm like, I'm going to start pulling out these comments and really picking them apart. It started with Prosy, okay? It started with Prosy. Prosy said some things about Stray that I thought, all right, let's do it. Right? Let's do it. Let's press in on what he's claiming, okay? And as we were pushing in on what he was claiming, something strange started to happen. People started taking, like, shots at Stray, and then suddenly started sneaking in cheap shots at God of War. And I was like, what is happening? Right? Seemed bizarre to me. So, I took the bait. If it was bait, if it wasn't bait, if it was just people being like... Because what we were doing is we were saying, like, Stray Game of the Year nomination, we think it's going to be up there. And we said, these are the games that we think are going to be up there. And unsurprising, people were automatically being pretty dismissive of the two Sony titles. Right? So... I took the bait. I was like, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that thing where we act like these games aren't going to be good or these games aren't going to be, award-winning when they already are winning awards and getting nominations. Now, Ragnarok's not, but Forbidden West is. Meanwhile, I'm here trying to figure out why you were talking about something that I was confused about. Yeah, like, Detective, you come in, you're like, it's not an exclusive. I'm like, it is an exclusive. And you're thinking, but it's on PC because you're like me. You didn't understand what was happening. You're like me. I have a PC, I have a Series X, I have a Switch, I have a PlayStation 5. So if a game comes out, I get to play it. I don't give a frick where it lands. It doesn't matter to me. So the minute people start getting tribalistic about titles and their criticism seems rooted in bias and fanboyism, I immediately latch onto it. I'm like, why? Why are you being this way? It doesn't seem rooted in anything. Surprisingly enough, Cred actually has I think it's unreasonable, but it's at least thought out. He has a thought out position on why some games are not actual true sequels. They feel more like expansions. They're big expansions. I think he would concede that. I don't think he would be in denial about this sequel is enormous, but it's basically, in his mind, it's an expansion. At least it's a thought out position. I think it's unreasonable. I also think it's confusing to invoke it in discussions where, generally speaking, gamer colloquialisms are not going to understand why you're calling a sequel that's bigger than the previous game an expansion. No one's going to understand that. And don't be surprised when people dismiss it as being like, you just sound like a fanboy. The game's not out yet. You have one trailer and you're like, it looks like a glorified expansion. You shouldn't be shocked that people think that sounds like fanboyism. Me invoking fanboyism into the discussion, I don't think was unreasonable. Because that's what started to happen. People started taking shots at Ragnarok. People were saying things about Stray that just seemed incredibly dismissive. They were being dismissive of Stray. It's only popular because casuals are making it go viral. What? No serious reviewer has reviewed it. What? And as we engage with that and attempt to falsify it, all of a sudden I start having people taking shots at Ragnarok. Which, again, it's super hard for me not to be like, this feels fanboy tribalistically motivated. This doesn't feel like it's motivated by an intellectual argument. So, That's why we went down this train track. I'm telling you, I knew. I was like, I bet you $10 I throw this out there. I bet you I get people that come in and are really like dismissive and tribalistic about it. I knew it would happen. And the minute I mentioned it, people got super defensive, which again, it's like a hit dog barks. It's like, why are you getting so defensive? If you're not a fanboy, what do you care? And again, we didn't poll the chat or ask the chat. We weren't even discussing whether or not people liked it. That's not what we were talking about. And it's mostly coming from people who are consistently anti-Sony. Right, it doesn't help when there's like a little crew of people that are consistently anti-Sony. Like, it doesn't help that they're the ones saying it. It's like, there's a history here. Like, you've consistently shown up to streams and been pretty anti-Sony. Like, you're 3 for 3. Anti-Ragnarok, anti-Last of Us Remake, anti-Stray. That's 3 for 3. If a hit dog barks, what's a dead horse sound like? Should a hit dog be silent? A hit dog barks is an old Southern saying that if you throw something out there and somebody barks, a hit dog barks. I must have hit something. I must have struck a nerve. That's kind of the same idea. I have a PC capable of handling any game, so if I'm a fanboy, I'm a PC fanboy, but I'm a little too old to be a fan of any corpo entity. But, cred, in the current climate, and in the current discussions that we have, do you honestly think saying that God of War Ragnarok looks like a glorified expansion? Do you honestly think that's going to be met with, like, receptive, like, oh, that's cool that you think that, man? Or do you think that that's a controversial, dismissive, judgmental statement that sounds like console tribalism? Like, that doesn't sound like... Find me any respected video game commentator that's talking like that about a game that's not out yet. Well, we can predict in the previous day's prep which ones of you will lose your crap about something. It's kind of telling. What is this? YouTube's emailing all of my channels. Explore tools to help you stay safe on YouTube. Oh, like just making sure all your security stuff's up to date. It sounded like you were saying just because Xbox players don't think Stray looks good, it's because we're Xbox players. That's dismissive because God of War games do look good to me. Well, I talk really fast, so it's easy for people to kind of get lost in the chaos and like, I'm interacting with Prosy, and I'm interacting with this guy, and then interacting with this guy, and I talk really, really fast, okay? I quickly clarified that, like, listen, I brought it up, because, and this is why I didn't feel like I brought it up. Because, like, I said it to one particular person, and then all these people in chat started replying, and I'm like, what are y'all doing? I'm not talking to you. That's why I initially was like, I didn't really bring it up. I said it to one person, and then everybody in chat started bringing up the Xbox. I'm like, I'm not talking to y'all, which is hard, because, like, right, there's 300 people watching, so it makes sense that when I say that, you're like, hey, wait a minute, I have an Xbox, and I'm not a fanboy, right? It makes sense, because in my mind, I was totally confused why so many people got upset. I was like, what is happening? It's like, I was talking to one person about their silly commentary about God of War. I was like, that's just silly. What are you saying? That's why I got offended. It sounded like you were saying we can't have an opinion, so maybe I just misunderstood. I don't know how you could have interpreted anything I said as you can't have an opinion. No. Yeah, I quickly was like, no. I wasn't trying to make this about Xbox. I was responding to one particular line of thinking that was suddenly in chat. I was like, what in the frick are we doing? Like, that sounds like, you know. And yeah, I got cheeky, and I said, it's not on Xbox. I did a full zoom in, and I was like, it's not on Xbox. But again, it's an ongoing narrative here. It was like, here we go again. I'm covering something that's not on Xbox, and I got a bunch of people being nasty about it in chat. I got people being dismissive, acting like nobody likes the game for good reasons, or they're just casuals. And it's like, yeah, this is really starting to feel like this is because it's not on Xbox. Which, you have to see that. You have to see the forest for the trees. If someone's going to come in and say the game's only popular because casuals are making it go viral and no serious review outlets have reviewed it, which are incredibly silly statements, and I say, it sounds to me like this thing's getting bashed because it's not on Xbox, right? That has nothing to do with you. You have an Xbox and you don't give a frick. Everyone who defends console wars and feels personally attacked if someone says something against his personal choice of a console. Oh, I don't. Yeah, it's not necessary to be. We don't need to be so divisive about it. There's a definite pattern. There's a definite pattern that when we've covered certain things and certain topics, people are coming in and they just immediately dive to like these really like dismissive things. Like, it's just impossible for me to take somebody seriously who is going to dismiss certain games and say certain things that just don't even seem to be accurate. They're just inaccurate statements. It triggered me, and I've got a PS5, so imagine the Xboxers had a real hard time with the statement. It's a live environment. I don't have a perfect batting average, right? I'm gonna misfire. I'm gonna misread. I'm gonna misunderstand. I'm gonna make a joke, and it's gonna trigger people, you know, or whatever. If you've been following me long enough, you know, and the fact that people started leaving and the fact that people started bailing is probably related to the fact that, like, we keep getting stuck in this rut of, like, people want to take swipes at Ragnarok or The Last of Us or Sony, or we've had to deal with people saying that, like, God of War is going to get delayed. Anytime God of War comes up, I have to hear that it's just DLC. You know, every time we talk about Sony, it's that, you know, their premium's going to be DOA, and it's probably just gotten old to some folks. So, like, my gosh, we couldn't just talk about Stray getting Game of the Year nomination. We made it less than an hour, and it turned into, like, a bunch of dismissive, nasty comments about the game, and then we get dismissive comments about God of War. It's like, how do you look at that and not see? Feels like it's a console thing. Feels like it's an Xbox thing. Like, I don't feel like I misread it. I think people got upset because I think some people got upset, not everybody. Some people got upset and defensive because I hit the target. Some of you got upset because you were like, hey, I wasn't even saying anything. You're like, whoa, hey, buddy, I'm an Xbox guy. I'm not saying anything. I just don't think the game looks that good. Like, I do think some people got defensive because they were like, hey, I wasn't involved in this. You know, don't rope me in, buddy. But I think some people got defensive because I hit the target. Into the Breach Advanced Edition. Timing could not be more perfect for the article title. Into the Breach's massive free update feels like a sequel. Square Enix Studios were a train wreck in slow motion. Eidos Montreal founder reflects on the issues he believes led to the studio's sale. And I feel like what I said was a pretty light jab. I feel like it was a pretty light jab. Like, I went full screen and I was like, because it's not on the Xbox. Like, I didn't feel like it was mean. It was pretty light. I felt like it was light. You should bookmark this and recall it when the reviews come out for Peace Island, Play as a Cat, but I don't think it's a platform exclusive. Are Xbox fans even allowed to be here? I'm an Xbox fan, so yes. I'm an Xbox fan. That's why listen, I had a short today and it's doing pretty well and it's called Dear Xbox Fans. And I basically say that they should demand better from Microsoft. Right? They should demand better from Microsoft. They should be asking for better treatment of contracted employees and the developers. And I address them specifically because, like, I'm an Xbox fan and I want there to be better games. I want Starfield to be award-winning. You know what I mean? Middle paragraph about Square Enix. If I read between the lines, Square Enix Japan was not as committed as we hoped initially. There were rumors, obviously, but with all the activities of mergers and acquisitions, that Sony would really like to have Square Enix within their wheelhouse. I heard rumors that Sony said they're really interested in Square Enix Tokyo, but not the rest. So I think Square Enix CEO Yusuke Matsuda-san put it like a garage sale. So wait, are we right then that, like, they were selling off property because they were getting ready to be purchased? Because that's what he's saying. I'm just saying, Sony used, your jokes sound a lot like things people say intentionally. You pulled the equivalent of, it looks like a glorified DLC. We know you're just pretending to be a Sony fanboy for the sake of the argument, but I can see how someone just walked in wouldn't know that. Well, yeah, new people would be like, this guy's a jerk. You know, they weren't here for the build-up. They weren't here for the lead-up. There was quite a lead-up before I said that. I'm just saying, Sony used to have Twisted Metal, then they had Siphon Filter, then they had Jack and Daxter. Thank God they didn't kill Ratchet and Clank. So you don't think they have properties that are as good as Twisted Metal, Siphon Filter, and Jack and Daxter? So, like, The Last of Us 1 and 2, Ghost of Tsushima, Death Stranding, which I know Death Stranding's on PC, but it was born on PlayStation. It's essentially a PlayStation title. Both Spider-Man games, and God of War, and Horizon Forbidden West. Like, I don't understand. You think their newer properties are inferior to those older properties? There's a market for any good game. That's what I meant about taking risks. Sony doesn't want to take risks these days. They're afraid if they make an action game, people won't buy it. What? What do you mean? What do you think Ghost of Tsushima and both the Spider-Man games are? Those aren't action games? Let me guess. They're not true action games. Oh, you're talking about how varied the genres were. I mean, I could definitely see somebody saying that Horizon Forbidden West, both the Spider-Man games, Tsushima and Ragnarok, are all in a similar universe. They're definitely different planets, but they're in the same universe. I could see that. I'm not going to disagree with that at all. I would say, yeah, that's fine. They're amazing and I don't care. And I'm biased. They're the type of games I love. They're action-adventure. And I love those types of games. I do. So my bias is definitely, oh yeah, these games are fantastic. These games are fantastic. But I do think that if we're going to talk about risk, yeah, I do wonder if the way that they're approaching game dev now is more about investing in existing properties than taking risks, which is honestly probably a good choice. Probably. Kana was a risk. Yeah, I think they took risks in good areas. They took a risk with Returnal. They took a risk with Kana Bridge of Spirits. Yeah, I think they took risks in good spots, in good areas. Yeah. Wasn't a Sony exclusive? What? Yeah, Kana was. What are you talking about? Dreams is scared to take a risk. Yeah, I feel like they've taken some risks. I'm not going to disagree that a lot of Sony games are falling into similar categories, like I said, like a similar universe. It's a timed exclusive, but it's okay. Stop doing that though. Like, it's still an exclusive. Like, that's the point that we're making. Oh, you're saying it's not first party. Oh. Well, did they publish? Who published Kana? I guess that wouldn't be a risk then. Yeah, they are right. I thought Sony helped publish that. Developer Awards nominations. I'm not seeing... Epic, maybe? Did they publish it? It looks like Maximum Games might have been the publisher. Sony funded it? Are you sure? Kana Bridge of Spirits publishers. It's showing me Ember Labs and Maximum Games. Third-party exclusives should go away. Place any character with the cat and you would still nominate it for Game of the Year? I'm not sure what you mean. Ember Lab are their own publisher along with Maximum. SIE is all over it, same with KOTOR. I don't know, Eugene. I'm not finding any concrete info that Sony funded the game. They might have been an investor. Would you nominate it? Based on my experience with Stray, I would think it deserves a Game of the Year nomination, yeah. If it wasn't a cat or just some generic human. I don't understand why people think that that's a profound point. Yeah, if you rip the entire identity of the game out, sure, it wouldn't be a very good game. Like, if you suddenly made everything in Forza, what? A rickshaw and a wheelbarrow? If you're just running around with a wheelbarrow, yeah, Forza would suck if you swapped the cars out. Yeah, it wouldn't be a car game anymore. A game where you play as a cat, if you rip out the cat and just put in some generic character, yeah. My point is it's similar to any walking sim. No, it's not. No. This feels like this just feels specific to this game, because you could do that with any game. If it was an ugly animal, if it was a spider. So you think that everybody's playing the game and it's mediocre trash, but because it's a cat, we all like it and we overlook that. Is Stray as much as a game as it is an experience? When I think game, I think of mechanics and mastering them. Elden Ring is a game. Stray is a game, but more so something one and done. Yeah, but a lot of games are like that, and they're still given awards and so recognized for greatness. Now do you see the point? I see an incredibly weak point that has no substance. Yeah, if you go into a game and you gut out its central identity, sure. People definitely do give it more praise because it's a cat. That's 100% a fact. No, that's your opinion. That's not a fact. Opinions are not facts. Your opinion is just as reductionistic and simplistic and dismissive as the people that were talking earlier that said it's only popular because casuals are making it go viral. No, it's dismissive and reductionistic. I don't think that that's true. I don't think the game is getting praise or overly praised just because there's a cat in it. That's just your opinion. Like if you ripped out Senua from Hellblade and you just put in some generic character so you didn't get the great, amazing voice acting and performance, then yeah, Hellblade would not be a game that I consider one of the greatest video games ever made. Yeah, you're ripping out the centrality of the game. The central thing that people look at and think, yeah, that game is that. It's literally a game that sold itself on come play as a cat. Well, if you rip the cat out, nobody would like it. Yeah? That's the whole point of the game? Is to have an experience like play a game as a cat? Gameplay isn't even good though? Opinion. Subjective opinion that the general public disagrees with you on. It's now the top rated game of the year on Steam, and it's the 49th most rated highest game on Steam of all time. Your opinion isn't shared by most people that have played it. You press A and are hold every time when you want to. Puzzles are basic. You're just continuing to trot out more opinions and more assertions. It's just like what you think of the game. Listen, it's totally fine for you to not think the game is that great, right? It's totally fine for you to be like, I just don't think it's that great of a game. I thought the puzzles were pretty basic, okay? That's totally fine. You're allowed to think that. That's the worst take I've heard. If a lot of people like it, does it make it good? So when games have tons of great reviews, that doesn't make it good. But when games have lots of bad reviews, does that not make the game bad? What's the point of pooling viewer reviews and scores? What's the point of that on Amazon? So go to Amazon and go to buy a screwdriver, and it's got 4,000 reviews, and it's got 5 stars. Well, it doesn't make it a good screwdriver. What? It's indicative. That's called collaborative empiricism. You have a bunch of people coming together and giving their thoughts on something to come to a general consensus and conclusion about the quality and value of an item. If the screwdriver next to it has 2 out of 5 stars, that's indicative. That's a way for you to determine the quality of the item. Yes. Review scores that are overwhelmingly positive about a game from users. I'm not talking about outlets that could have been paid. I'm talking about the user scores on Steam. 43,000 people reviewed the game. Yes, that's indicative of a game's quality. You could articulate why the game is good about it without appealing to the majority. I'm not doing the fallacy of the group. I'm not saying it's good because lots of people like it. I'm saying, I said to him very specifically, I said, most people don't share your opinion that reviewed the game. Lots of people like it. Meaning, you're allowed to not like it, but clearly there's a trend. clearly this is indicative to a degree of the item's quality. That's exactly what you are, though? No, you're not paying attention. I very carefully said most people don't agree with you. And then I said that that's called collaborative empiricism, like you're taking a bunch of people and you're bringing them together, and it gives you an indication of something's quality. It doesn't make it good objectively. Not saying that. That would be a logical fallacy of the group to say, it's good. Why? Because lots of people say it's good. That's not what I'm saying. You're misunderstanding my argument. If a bunch of people say the screwdriver is bad, that's likely to be indicative of the quality of the product. If 4,000 people review the screwdriver and say the handle keeps breaking, it's probably indicative of the fact that the handle keeps breaking. If 43,000 people review a game and it gets a 98%, it's probably indicative of the game's quality. You not liking the game doesn't make it a bad game. It's like there's clearly something about it that is good. There's a qualitative measurement of the game here. It's not broken. It's not buggy. People can enjoy it. People are enjoying it. People are responding positively. This is at some measure indicative of the game's quality. Didn't say I didn't like it. I said it's not Game of the Year contender. Well, you said the puzzles were basic, and you said, worst take I've ever heard. You said gameplay isn't good. It isn't even good, and puzzles are basic. So when someone says that gameplay isn't even good, I'm not supposed to conclude that you didn't like it? How many people say that gameplay isn't good, but then they're like, well, I actually liked the game. Like, who, huh? So you said gameplay isn't even good, and the puzzles are basic. I think it's fair to conclude from that you didn't like the game all that much. Why else would you be saying that? Did you like the game? Yeah, I liked it a lot. What'd you think? Oh, the gameplay wasn't very good, and the puzzles were basic. Wait, what? You just said you liked the game. Those statements seem juxtaposed against liking the game. Hence why it's not a Game of the Year contender. Yeah. Okay, you have to understand something. And again, this isn't fallacy of the group. It being a Game of the Year contender and it getting a Game of the Year nomination, which it very likely will, is because tons of people disagree with you. That was the point I was making. It is a Game of the Year contender because so many people disagree with you. This game is a smash, red-hot hit, which is why it's likely going to get a nomination. It's not going to win. Beginning of the stream, I said, here are the reasons it might win, here are the reasons it might not. My prediction, nomination, it's not going to win Game of the Year. It'll win other categories. Mike and Mike with a $5 tip through Super Chat. Just want to say that we as a community here, we must be in a good spot if we can discuss a car game for hours. A cat game for hours. Yes, yes, yes. People also thought Last of Us was Game of the Year. I only disagree with Last of Us 2 winning Game of the Year because I thought Ghost of Tsushima deserved a leg up in the competition because it was a brand new IP. I think sequels should have to do significantly more. The more I've looked at the gameplay changes from The Last of Us 1 to 2, the more I think that The Last of Us 2 probably did enough with respect to gameplay enhancements to create a chasm of difference between the first game and the second game. I still think Tsushima, as a brand new IP, deserved it, but that's my opinion. The press and those voting thought differently than me. But everyone liked it? No. You're misrepresenting what I'm saying. In the realm of Game of the Year nominations, everyone liking it is a factor. It's a factor. Bias, that's what it's called? Yeah, and I just did something called owning my bias, something that you really struggle with. I said, I personally thought it deserved Game of the Year. Why? I substantiated why I thought it, and I said ultimately the people that voted disagreed with me. That's completely intellectually honest and owning my bias, something you seem to struggle with. I said in this discussion, the reason that Stray will likely get a nomination is because so many people disagree with you. It's just getting red hot, amazing treatment. It's getting tons of votes. So, you saying puzzles are basic, I didn't like it, gameplay was boring, or whatever you want to say. Gameplay was bad, I think you said. That's fine. You're allowed to think that. That doesn't mean it's not a Game of the Year contender. Gameplay is basic to me and puzzles are as well. No, when you originally made those statements, you didn't say to me. You said them as if they were like blanket qualitative assertions. You didn't say, to me, you said, the gameplay is not even good. And then you said, the puzzles are basic. You're describing them. You're using descriptive language. You didn't say, I didn't like the puzzles. You didn't say, I didn't like the gameplay. I did show me. I'm not going to go up and back and copy pasta. I already scrolled back up and read what you read once. You want me to do it again? I don't like doing this. Because I feel like people like you just randomly, you said, the gameplay isn't even good though. That's all you said. LOL. You press A and are told everywhere to go. Puzzles are basic. Those are you just simply stating those things as like qualitative assertions. You're just making those as like qualitative assertions. Gameplay isn't even good, and the puzzles are basic. And you said that's why it doesn't deserve Game of the Year. And I pushed back and I was like, tons of people disagree with you. It's getting an amazing, it's getting really, really amazing review scores from people. That's how you take it. That's how you wrote it. There's a giant difference between somebody saying, hey, I didn't like that game. I thought these things about it. You were supporting like, oh, it doesn't deserve Game of the Year. Why? Because the gameplay was bad and it's basic. Now, obviously, right? Obviously, you're typing it, so it's your opinion. But the way you set it up, that's why I was like, tons of people disagree with you. It's getting good scores. And you said, that's the worst take I've ever heard. You said, that's the worst take I've ever heard. And I was like, wait a minute. Wait. It being liked by tons of people is directly correlated to the fact that it will likely get a Game of the Year nomination, which is what you were pushing against. Yeah, there's two people in chat named Cobain. What's this review say? In a market... Hang on. In a market saturated with unfinished titles and pay-to-win games in quotation marks, Stray is a deep breath of fresh air. With unique mechanics, story, and adventure, Stray has proven to the gaming industry what amazing things can be accomplished when you care about your game and its players. In summary, thank you. Now, I would actually say that the unique mechanics, I would say the story and the adventure are unique. It's a pretty dope little story. It's very cool. I think the world is cool. I think the setup and the environments is cool. I don't think we could say that the mechanics are particularly unique. I actually think you can objectively say the mechanics are not that unique. I think that's a fair thing to push against, right? Yeah, I think that's demonstrably false. You could probably find numerous games with almost identical mechanics. And that's not necessarily the measure of a good game. I've played plenty of just amazing platformers that have similar mechanics to other platformers. Yo, Stephen Marston gifting a membership. Thank you so much for doing that, Stephen. And, oh, I'm so glad that Nook got it. Nook, how are you, man? Thanks for doing that, Steven. I also was engaging with the idea, was this you, Cobain? I'm trying to keep track of everybody I've discussed with and argued with today. Oh, it's only popular because it's a cat. And it's like, but that's just so simplistic. That's so reductionist. That's not why this game is popular. I believe a game where you can play a cat is obviously a catalyst for people to try, right? Oh man, you can play as a cat? That sounds kind of cool. And then they see the motion capture, There was literal motion capture, tweets that went out and kind of got popular. You see a little cat with all the mocap things. That's obviously a catalyst to people trying it. But that's not why people are giving this thing a 98%. No. They're giving it because it's a good game. They enjoyed it. They had a good time with it. They thought it was worth their money and worth the time to write a review. And worth the time to take the time to talk about why they enjoyed it. To be fair, the cat animations are very solid. I said that earlier in the stream. I said, listen, one of the reasons, the cat list, that's good. One of the reasons I think this game did so well is because of the mocap. If they would have had really stiff cat animations and it would have looked a little bit jerky, but everything else would have been exactly the same, I don't think it would have been done as well. I don't. Because people wouldn't have really connected with the character of the cat. They'd have been like, it feels kind of like a mobile game. The animations are stiff. Issues I have with gameplay is all you can do is jump. I really don't think they are that great to me. Right, and see, that's totally fine, Cobain, but you have to understand something. If we're going to talk about Game of the Year, right, Game of the Year is not determined by what, one person thinks about the mechanics and the game itself. That's why I brought up the review scores. That's more indicative of what people are thinking about this game, what the general public, what the review outlets, what gamers are thinking about this game. And that is what Game of the Year is influenced by. It's not just influenced by one person. That's why Game of the Year is such a fun debate, because everybody has a different perspective. But to be it doesn't deserve Game of the Year, why? Oh, I thought the puzzles were kind of basic and the gameplay was bad. Well, okay. Did they do anything that was bad? I'll give you an example of another way to talk about stuff like this. Maybe I'm expecting too much from a drive-by YouTube comment. It's tough for you guys to type lengthy comments. I've tried to think of good solutions for this, here, I'll make a community post, and members can go write really long posts, and I'll interact with what you say. Do that as a member perk or something, but I don't like to send people out of the stream. We used to do that for polls, and now we don't have to, right? If I tell you some game that you really like, and I'm I thought the story was bad, I think it would make sense for you to be why? Felt it's basic. Okay. Those are almost synonymous, right? You're both statements are basically just saying story equals lower quality, right? If I go into detail and I say, well, the story pacing was a little awkward. I felt like the character went from being really happy to really vengeful way too quickly. I felt like some of the writing was pretty bad. The sentence structure was awkward. The voice acting wasn't that high quality when compared to other games with voice acting, and so it didn't really invoke a lot of emotion. See, now I'm getting down into the specifics of the story's bad. Substantiating the gameplay's bad. Why? Well, the puzzles are basic. But that makes gameplay bad? Basic puzzles? What? I've played plenty of games with basic puzzles. That doesn't make the gameplay bad. Voice actor of the year. You think it's up there with Elden Ring? Here's what's fun about this discussion. I kind of wish we would have stayed more in the fun lane of the discussion of what deserves Game of the Year. How do we determine it? I think that would have been more entertaining than getting into a Sony Xbox spat. Because I feel like some people come and that's what they bring to the table, which maybe I should stop taking the bait. Maybe that's on me. But do I think it's up there with Elden Ring? The thing you have to understand is my enjoyment of Elden Ring and my enjoyment of Stray are for completely different reasons. So what I have to do is I have to look at what did this game do and what did the public say. Because my judgment of the game's quality and my experience, okay, that's a factor, but I also have to put that on the table alongside what did this game achieve? What did it do? Did people really, you know, acknowledge it for greatness in different departments and different areas or whatever the frick? I'll give you an example. When you look at The Witcher 3 and Monster Hunter, those are games that I played and I could see how good they were and I didn't like them. I was like, I'm bored. Okay? I've always said that Monster Hunter and The Witcher 3 are two of the best games I've never played. Right? So you have to put that on the table. You have to put it on the table and say, we've got, you know, what I think and how I feel. What did this game achieve? Like, did it do anything in the realm of creativity, technological innovation, etc.? And then what did the public think? So when I look at Stray and I'm like, what did I think? I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I had some quibbles with the gameplay. I actually did. I did. This whole running from these guys gets a little old sometimes, gets a little long in the tooth. What did it achieve? Well, they achieved some of the best mocap I've ever seen for a cat. They successfully launched a cat game. For $30, I think they did something that does feel fresh. Not necessarily unique, but it feels fresh. It feels new. It feels good. What does the public think? Well, holy frick. The public is loving this game. How long will it be number one? Homie, it unseated God of War. I mean, it's going to be up there for a while on the Steam charts. It already climbed to 49. Like, it's 49 of all time highest rated games on Steam. It's number 49. It's number one for the year. Like, oh, and it's their first game. Do you see, like, what unseated it? What unseated God of War? Stray. Don't you see why I said? I was like, tons of people disagree with you. No, I don't really like JRPGs. I know they're great, and I know that people love them, but they don't land on me. They don't land on me. I see them for like, oh, that game looks great. I know people probably love it, and then I just can't get into it. They don't land on me. They don't hook me. Voice acting and soundtrack make it really, really hard for me to get into. The music's always like violin, piano, OVO, do 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 do, and you're like walking around a market. It's like, settle down, soundtrack. And everybody you talk to, you know, do you have any apples? Oh, I do. Like, what's happening? Like, I can't do it. The method of storytelling and the art style, and even a lot of times the combat style, I just can't get into it. I look at it, I'm like, I get why people dig this. These games are cool, but I don't like them. Without JRPGs, I wouldn't be the gamer I am today. I honestly think it's everything that you get accustomed to, because I think if you get accustomed to JRPGs, you probably look at Western games and you're like, no. I'm so glad Elden Ring sold well. Happy for FromSoft. So something tells me Elden Ring is maybe a little overrated, and I love the game. The only thing that was bad about Elden Ring doing so well is all the casuals who trashed it because they just bought into the hype. I don't think there were casuals that trashed it. I had criticisms of Elden Ring, and I wouldn't consider myself to be very casual. I was a new convert to FromSoft games. I'm not a FromSoft guy either. The FromSoft fans didn't like watching me play the game because I was pretty critical. I thought the back half of Elden Ring was paced terribly. I thought the boss design for a lot of the endgame fights was bad. I didn't like it. I think they ran out of ideas, and so they just started doing spam and AoE. And I think they ran out of creative pain points in the end. And so they're like, well, just do AoE spam. Like, I just got old. It's just, to me, it just got old. From guys' issues with Had It With Well. Yeah, there were FromSoft guys that kind of agreed with me, and they were longtime fans. I was obviously a newer fan. I had just beaten Dark Souls 3 and Sekiro. I mean, like, new players who bash it just for being hard. Well, I had a friend of mine who was like, I've not been really into gaming that much lately, but I tell you what game I was thinking about getting. He was like, Elden Ring. I was like, oh my gosh, don't get that. Don't. No, you won't enjoy it. You won't enjoy it. That game will kick your teeth in. You won't get very far, and you won't understand what's going on. We all have our bags. I love racing games and tweaking camber, and Lono gets smoked by Talica and Mario Kart like someone who's never seen a controller before. Can anyone in chat tell me which day Lono discussed Stranger Things in the members-only stream? I'd like to hear his take on it. It was probably Thursday last week, Life Flows. I think it was Thursday last week. It wouldn't have been Friday because of the round table. I think it was Thursday. His minivan doesn't have adjusting camber. I don't know what that is. Lono is a fan of everything until it frustrates him. Then he's like, F you, F the devs, F the genre. Yeah, we went hard at Stranger Things. We really got into some cool theory crafting about what happened at the end and who did. Yeah, it's good. Don't watch it unless you've seen the entire final season. Well, recent season. It's not the final season. Recent season. It was Friday during Assassin's Creed. No, it was a members-only stream where we talked Stranger Things. It was a members-only stream, which couldn't have been Friday because that was the Reforge Roundtable after show. So it would have had to have been Thursday, I think. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's a good blog about all the cats. Oh, like the cats they use for the game. Camber is the angle of the wheel relative to the to perfectly vertical. You've seen those crazy vids where the wheel's leaning far at the top? That's a ton of camber. Okay. That's all I got for you. Okay. Why is that so low? Because when it first came out, don't you remember, Eugene? When it first came out, it got absolutely blasted and bombed for the performance issues. So I don't know if it ever really recovered from that. You know? It got pretty blasted at the start. Like, I'm not saying that Elden Ring deserves, like, a much higher score, but I definitely think a 7.0 is on the low side for how great the game really is. Like, it has a 90% on Steam. 391,000 people reviewed it on Steam and it has a 90. And when you go to the PS5, it has an 8. Yeah, so I would say if you look at Steam, 90% for almost 400,000 reviews. Still a big discrepancy. Yeah, but you're going to Metacritic where it's a lot easier to review bomb. You can't. It's harder to review bomb on Steam because don't you have to go in? Because don't they go back and vet purchase on Steam? Like, you see what I'm saying? The bigger discrepancies on Metacritic, where Metacritic's known for review bombing. I'm almost not even going to pull up Metacritic anymore, but sometimes you have to because it's not on Steam. Steam, it has almost 400,000 votes, and it's got a 90%. Like, I think that's more reliable than Metacritic because Metacritic is known for review bombing. Look up The Last of Us 2, Eugene. Do you want to play this game? You want to play the Metacritic game? Because you're going to lose. The Metacritic game, you lose every time. We don't know if those user scores are reliable because games get review bombed. Whenever I went to The Last of Us 2, I was shocked. And people were like, well, it got review bombed. Well, okay. Elden Ring probably got review bombed too in the first week. People that were angry about no easy mode, people like to take down the front runner, people like to take down the game getting media darling treatment, and there were performance issues. Like in Steam, where you have to have purchased the game, you can see how long people have played, it's got a 90%. I think that's way more reliable than Metacritic. And Metacritic's all over the place, Eugene. A 7.7, an 8, and a 7. What's the margin of error there? What's the margin of error? All the way down to a 7, and then Steam all the way up to a 9. That's a 2-point margin of error on a 10-point scale. I mean, come on. Negative camber, positive camber, toe out, toe in. Negative caster, positive caster. You're such a nerd. Like, you found that picture. he's like, Zubair's really pushing this. He's like, listen, guys, camber. Like, camber. You guys not interested in camber? Camber? I hardly know her. Oh, man. Racing Setup 101. Yeah, he put a picture in the Discord. Everyone else knows but Lono. I'm not a car guy. I don't play racing games. Let me check something. The reason Elden Ring is so much bigger than Dark Souls games is it's objectively better. I mean, you got to be careful throwing around objective. Like, what do you mean? Arguing that a game is objectively better? It's really, really tough. I was gonna try and do a part 2, but we got absolutely zero search today off of Stray. So I'm not gonna do a gameplay session with it. It's not worth it. It isn't worth it. It'll do. This stream did not so hot, and the gameplay would do even worse. So we thought maybe if we would have stayed on subject, you know, because we got like, when did we go live? That's 30 minutes. We 30 to 40 minutes in, we peaked up into the low 300s of viewers, and then after that we just absolutely declined, which might have been because we got caught up in that debate, and that's probably on me. I shouldn't have taken the bait and gone down that road. We probably should have stayed on Stray and Game of the Year debating, like, what actually is, how do you determine Game of the Year and blah 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 blah. So I probably heard our own turnout, but according to the back end metrics, nobody was searching for this today that came in. We didn't get anybody off of people searching for like Stray. I'm gonna start a YouTube channel about suspensions and call it Cam Bear, not to be confused with my show about valve timing called Cam Air. Lola loves taking the bait. He singles in on the dum-dums and goes after them. I don't know. Yeah, I probably need to not do that, because it's like, it makes sense when we do it in an actual stream about a game like The Last of Us Remake. Like, that was perfectly fine and made sense, and we had great results that day. But we probably should have stayed on subject today with Stray. We probably should have. It's Tuesday. Let me grab the last one that we did. And we do turn on the monetization. It does seem to help. Uh-huh. Clickbait title. You think this is a clickbait title? Stray Game of the Year with a question mark. And the thumbnail is Game of the Year 2022, is it possible? So we're entertaining the question. The first line of the video's description, is it possible to see Stray Game of the Year in 2022? Not a chance it gets Game of the Year. Do you see how it wasn't clickbait? You came in and engaged in the subject. You probably voted in the poll. Don't you feel better? You got to voice your opinion about something. Do you see how it's not clickbait? Like, you literally did. It's clickbait because it has zero chance. Okay, so you know, this kind of makes sense because I was just thinking the other day, if I ever meet a guy named Scott Wright, I'm going to think somebody should tell him that when he tries to go on a date, you should call it click date because you got zero chance. Oh, what a burn! What a burn! You're probably married and have a girlfriend, but that was the best I could come up with. We're shifting gears. It's clickbait because it has no chance. Okay. Oh, I'm married. Yeah, I figured. You had the grumpy disposition of a man who's unhappy, so I assumed you were married. Oh my gosh, that's so good. That is so good, bro. Oh man, married 15 years, bro. Take that one in stride. Come on, that was a good clapback, bro. Don't be mad. Don't be mad, Scott. Scott, come back. Just kidding. We're going members only, and you're not a member. Very good, but happily married. Okay, he took it in stride. All right. Another sign that he's married. He could take criticism in stride. He's good. He's okay. Oh my gosh. If you're not a member, consider becoming a member. It supports the stream directly. It only costs you $5 a month, and we do members content at the end of every day, and we also do it on Friday night. I play games with my wife. You generally get about 5 to 6 hours of content every day for me before we do members only content. So 5 and 6 hours of a live show, and then we go over to members. Okay, this Friday night's community game night, so make sure you get your membership active. We will be playing Fall Guys. It's a free to play game everywhere. We'll be playing some private matches, and members only time gonna get spicy. Let me send a tweet. So make sure you got your memberships up and running, and make sure you are in the Discord. It should redirect you to members only. In the event that it doesn't, there is a link in the chat. Hey, you clicked on this, and you might not have been here live for the members only streams. We've been just kind of hanging out and talking. You know, it's kind of like a let's discuss, ask kind of anything sort of vibe, because there's just certain things we don't discuss when we're out in public or talking games or whatever. And so it's a great way to be here as a member to contribute to the conversation and be a part of what's going on. Great way to not miss out on the contents to be in the Discord. There's a Discord link in the description of all my videos, so make sure and get in the Discord. I am going to end the previous stream and bring everybody over with redirect. Thanks so much for supporting the wild and spicy Stray discussion. And let me end that. There we go. That should bring everybody over. We were considering talking